Baba Shuaib, the correctional officer, born in Accra, Ghana, a Quranic researcher and a critical thinker based on religion, who does online lectures based on the guidance of the Quran on platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok since 2018. In Finland, and 13 years, QBE, in Classical Arabic and MSA in Quranic Arabic. The author of the Refer to the Quran, which helps
If you have any question to ask me, let it be based on the video. If your questions are outside the frame or the topic above, sometimes I don't pay attention to your question. I'm serious. It's not like I'm running away from your question. No. That is why I even have Q&A session where I will allow people to come and type the questions and for me to answer. I'm never running away from your questions. But the point is, I hate the fact that when I do a program and the program, let's say, is talking about football, I don't want you to come asking me about basketball, right? It doesn't make sense because it diverts the attention of the whoever is coming to watch, the audience or the one reading the comments. It diverts the attention from the main topic of discussion. Ask yourself, even as a good student in a classroom, imagine a teacher teaching you biology or chemistry, and then you go and be asking about mathematics. Something like mathematics is even close to, let's say you are asking about science, or maybe, yeah, they are teaching you mathematics and you are asking about science. You know, it doesn't add up. Stick to mathematics. When it's clear enough, you move on to another subject. This is why I have multiple videos on my YouTube channel. So if you have a question and it's based on Salat, go to my Salat video and ask a question there. Or you have my phone number, or you have my email address. You understand? Send me the message. Then I can respond to you. But when you come under my video, guess what? Because when you ask me a question and I type back, you add an extra question because you'll be carried away thinking Baba Shuaib has responded. So let me add another question. And that is why most of you, when you see me ignoring your questions, that this is the reason. It's not because I'm scared of you. I'm not scared of you. Seriously, I'm not scared of you. Get that in your coconut head. If I'm scared of you, I won't put my phone number out there. I will not be on Facebook, YouTube, doing a question and answer session. I will not be on TikTok for 5 hours doing question and answer session. If I'm scared of you, yes, you, the ones who think when you type comments and nobody knows you, you think I'm scared of you. That's who I'm talking to, right? I have a life. I don't live in the internet. Neither do I live on my computer or my YouTube page. I don't live there 24 hours. I have a life. Do you understand? So when you are asking questions and you are thinking Baba Shuaib is scared, well, think twice. Come face me live dialogue and see if I'm running away from you. So somebody asked a question. I happen to chance upon this question, and this question has to do with the video I'm going to play today, which is Mohammed Hijab. That's why I wanted to respond to this, right? Sister Sana, I see you. Nazira Nesi, thank you for coming. So I wanted to respond to this question because it is in line with what Mohammed Hijab said. My YouTube channel is Bush2G9 with the same name on my TikTok, the same name, the same everything. Use it to search me on YouTube, right? Thank you. Now, somebody says, Salam Baba Shuaib. The order of the Quran we possess today is not in the exact same order it was during the time of the Prophet. Now, this person, instead of asking me a question, he made a statement. And this is a claim. This is a claim he made, right? Now, my problem with people is when you have a preconceived mentality or notion in your head or judgment in your head, then there's a problem. You cannot learn because you are not in the position to unlearn and relearn. You think you know it all already. That is my problem when some people come to ask questions. When you are a questioner, act like you don't know. Don't act like you know it already before asking a question. So the person says, Salam Baba Shuaib, the order in which we have the Quran, we possess the Quran today, is not in the exact same order it was during the time of Prophet Muhammad. My question to you before I answer is, were you there? No. Did you see the copy Prophet Muhammad had? Have you ever seen it? Were you there? Or were you his secretary for you to see that is the exact order or not? Or is it because some external sources are influencing your thoughts or what you think you know? You see the problem? You don't let the Quran speak for itself. You are letting other people. Look, if you are found guilty or not guilty, you go to the courtroom, you speak for yourself. It is only when you give somebody authority to speak on your behalf, which is a lawyer, before he can speak on your behalf. So let the Quran speak for itself. Is it the Quran which told you that the copy we have today is not the same that Prophet Muhammad had? Then let's put the book to the trash, if that is your reasoning. Put the book to the trash because it is inconsistent. It cannot stand the test of time anymore. It has been changed, right? Is that what you think? Or is it because the hadith is influencing your thoughts? You see the problem? That's where the problem is. The hadith is the one causing the problems for you. So now, question. How certain are we in the context when explaining verses of the Quran? We are not explaining verses of the Quran. The Quran is self-explanatory. But because the hadith has influenced the way you think, so you think the hadith books are the ones to explain the Quran. You see? So first of all, your question is kaput. It's a wrong question. The second question, when we quote verses from the Quran, are those references from the compilations of the people other than the receiver of the revelations, which is the Prophet Muhammad? That is a question. When we quote verses from the Quran, are those references that we are quoting from the Quran, are they from the compilations of the people other than the Prophet? So you understand, your first question was wrong. So your second question has actually followed the terrain of your first question, which is another wrong question. Because you have a preconceived notion that the Quran we are using is coming from some people's compilation because the hadith told you so. The foolishness they will keep telling you, the same people who compile the Quran are the same people who compile the hadith. That's what they keep telling you. The same people are... I have a video. Go to my YouTube channel. It's talking about the Sahih Hadith. I dismantled this claim they are having. I have the video. I've dismantled it. Do you understand? I've dismantled this claim. The copies they tell you Hafsa had, and Umar sent somebody, Usman sent somebody to go and bring the copy, and they rewrote it, and then they bend the other copy. These are all coming from the garbage books. They are confusing your mindset because you don't want the Quran to speak to you. Do you see the problem? Okay. Your third question, is the Quran a text written by Prophet Muhammad and compiled by others? Is the Quran a text written by the Prophet Muhammad and compiled by others? How will the others even know how to compile it? If Prophet didn't stand to do it or he didn't do it, how will the other ones know how to compile it? I give an example. Baba Shraib, I wrote a book, right? So I didn't tell the printing press how I want the book to be arranged and compiled. Tell me, how can the printing press know how to arrange it? Where will they put number 1, number 2, and number 3? How will they get to do that? You tell me. Baba Shraib, if I wrote a book and I give it to the printing press and I never told them I want the first page to be here, second page to be here, third page to be here, fourth chapter to be here and there. Tell me, how can they know where the first page has to be, especially people who have never received any book from God? لِتُنْزِرَ قَوْمًا مَا أُنْزِرَ آبَاؤُهُمْ فَهُمْ غَافِلُونَ. Read Surah to Yasin, chapter 36, from verse 1 to verse 11. The people he came to, they have no idea. They've never been warned by God. They don't even know how to serve God, the proper God. You understand? So that they receive a messenger who now has to teach them the book and the hikmah, because they have no idea of the book of God. They never received any book from God. So now you are thinking that if the Prophet wrote the Quran, he didn't compile it. It was the Sahaba who actually now compiled it. The Ummiyuna, whom he has to teach the book and the hikmah, so they can compile it, and he couldn't compile it. So they will compile it and tell you this is the book of God. Really? Okay, so these are the questions I chanced upon. The reason why I'm answering this question because it has to do with the video I'm going to deal with today. Do you understand? Some questions are nonsensical questions. They don't deserve the right answer because they are wrong questions. If you don't understand what I mean, look, let me help you in understanding a question when it's wrong. When a question is wrong, don't be quick to answer a wrong question because the answer will eventually be a wrong answer. So let me tell you how it works. Right? You meet somebody who is single, who is not married, and he doesn't have children. He doesn't have kids. And then you ask him, hey, bro, how are your wife and kids doing? How are your wife and kids doing? You see the question? He is single. He is not married. He doesn't have children. You are asking him, how are your wife and kids doing? Seriously. Is he supposed to say they are fine? Or is he supposed to say they are not fine? Look, both ways, the answer is wrong because the question on its own is wrong. Are you following the logic I'm giving you here? When a question is wrong, don't answer the question. Fix the question before you answer. And this is why many a times when somebody asks you a stupid question, you say, what do you mean? Or who told you? Somebody say, hey, Baba Shoaib, I heard you bought a car. I don't need to say yes or no. I need to say, who told you about a car? Or how did you not have a car? So what if I borrowed the car? Or what if I went to rent it? Right? Or what if my brother gave it to me to be used in temporary? So just because somebody told you Baba Shoaib bought a car, automatically you say, Baba Shoaib, I heard you bought a car. No. Find out from Baba Shoaib, is it your car? If he says yes, fine. That's with his own words. Right? So a lot of people have been programmed in the way they have to ask questions and they think they are making sense. And I'm going to use Mohammed Hijab to show you the stupidity that people actually think they are making sense when they ask us questions, right? So let's start with Mohammed Hijab. Check out. Let me play the video so we move on with today's program, right? Okay, so we go today.
To be covering something very important, which is the Qur'ani movement, the Qur'an alone movement, the Munkir as-Sunnah movement, the people who reject the Sunnah. And these people really are seen by Muslim people not to be actually Muslims at all, since the religion of Islam really comprises of the Qur'an and the Sunnah. And so the Qur'an alone movement, I don't think any sect of Islam really considers these individuals as an actual, even a sect of Islam. But it's important for us because of the age of social media and globalization and technological kind of being able to speak to people across the world, and therefore these shubuhat or misconceptions have increased, that we understand what this movement is all about. We know how to answer this movement from the Quran itself, ironically enough for them. But before I do that, I wanted to actually read a hadith. Now this hadith is not Bukhari Muslim, but it's a very interesting one, and I'm not reading it as an evidence against them, because I want someone from this movement to take this hadith and say, well, actually you're using these hadiths and so on. No, we're not using this as an evidence for you, because the evidences for them will be strictly from the Quran. I think they're sufficient. But it's just for our sake, our purposes, to see that this is actually a prophecy of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We mentioned that there were many prophecies of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We actually use this to evidence the veracity of the message of Islam. And this is one of them. The hadith states, يُوشَكُ أَنْ يَقْعُدُ الرَّجُلُ مُتَّكِئًا عَلَى أَرِيكَتِهِ, that there will soon come a time the man, or the person, in this case is the man, but it's a general phrase, will be مُتَّكِئًا عَلَى أَرِيكَتِهِ. He will be reclining on his sofa or couch or, seated thing. يُحَدِّثُ بِحَدِيثٍ مِّنْ حَدِيثِ فَيَقُولُ. So someone will speak to him of a hadith, of one of my hadiths, and so he will say, بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمْ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ, that between us and you is the kitab, the book of Allah, meaning the Quran, right? فَمَا وَجَدَنَا فِيهِ مِنْ حَلَالٍ استحللناه. Whatever we find in it which is halal, we have made halal. وَمَا وَجَدَنَا فِيهِ مِنْ حَرَامٍ حَرَّمْنَاه. And whatever we find in it from haram, we'll make haram. In other words, we will consider haram, right? وَإِنَّ مَا حَرَّمَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ مِثْلَ مَا حَرَّمَ اللَّهِ. And this is now the Prophet giving his commentary. He says, however, whatever the Prophet has made halal or haram in this case is as if Allah has made it haram. Meaning that we as Muslims don't believe in just one type of revelation. We believe in two types of revelation. One type is the Quran itself, which is the most important type, undoubtedly. The most voracious type, undoubtedly. The most transmitted type, undoubtedly. And then you have the Hadith. On the 5 pillars of Islam, for example, if someone wants to pray, where are these details found? Are they found in the Quran? Some of those details are found in the Quran, but are the exact rak'ahs, how many times you go up and how many times, none of that is found in the Quran. None of that is found in the Quran. So Allah is telling us to do things in the Quran. Pray, fast, go hajj. But then we don't know how to do any of that unless we have an outside explanation. I've had discussion with Quran alone people many times. So I've said 2 things to them that has really thrown them, like they had no idea how to answer it. And you can find this online. I'm not making this, I'm not bragging here. One of them is in chapter 33 of the Quran. Because in the Quran many times it says al-hikmah, 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 or al-hukmah, which is, by the way, it's also a Hebrew word, hukmah, which means the wisdom, right? And most mufassirun, most exegetes say this is talking about the sunnah. So we ask, so this is the usual debate. We say, okay, well this is the Quran, and this is the sunnah, the hikmah is the sunnah, it's the wisdom that Allah has given to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They say, no, this is nonsense. They say, this is your interpretation, you're superimposing your understanding. There is one verse in the Quran where Allah is speaking to the wives of the Prophet. He says, وَاذْكُرْنَ مَا يُتْلَى فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. And mention what is, or recite what in your houses, or mention what is recited in your houses, مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ, from the ayat of Allah. The ayat, the verses of God, meaning the Quran, وَالْحِكْمَةِ. So there are 2 things being recited here. These are 2 separate entities. You have the Quran and you have the hikmah. And it can't be the same thing, because a lot of them will say the hikmah is the Quran. But how could it be when both are being recited? And in Arabic they say al-atf yaqtadi or al-atf lil-mughayara. That conjunction, like the word and is a conjunction in English, yeah? Conjunction necessitates differentiation. This is a very well-known Arabic principle, yeah? So if you have 2 things, ayatullah and the hikmah, and there's a waw in between them, that must mean there must be 2 different things, which can be recited, interestingly. Meaning it can be mentioned by mouth. And that Allah is telling the wives of the Prophet to mention both, not just one. So what is this al-hikmah then? Wallahi, فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي كَفَرْ. And I will say it like this, he has no response to that whatsoever. So that's one thing. The other thing is the argument of the qira'at. We know that we went through this with the preservation thing. We have something, the qira'at of the Quran, the ahruf, أنزل القرآن على 7 أحرف. That the Quran has been revealed with 7 ahruf, modes. So you'll find some on select words, about 700 to be exact, in the Quran, which is about 77,000 words. You can read it in more than one way. How do you explain that without this hadith? You would have to say there's been some kind of manipulation. So when you put that to them, what do you accept? Malik or Malik? And whatever you choose, the other one that you reject, what's your mechanism of rejection? If they don't have the ahruf as a mechanism, then they're admitting omission or insertion, which is outside of the hifz of Allah, of the protection of Allah. And the Quran itself says, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. We have sent down the book and we will preserve it. So it's ironic, when you disbelieve in the Quran, when you disbelieve in the hadith, you end up disbelieving the Quran, because they work in symbiotic relationship with one another. They work in symbiotic relationship with one another. And the way the Quran has been revealed and protected is the same way the hadith has been protected by sanad. So on a historical level, let's put away all these discussions. There are some hadiths with even more voracious, dare I even say, asanid than the Quran itself. For example, ironically, the hadith that says, "Man kadhaba alayya muta'ammidan falyatabawwa maq'adahu min an-nar." It's been narrated by 40 individuals, Sahaba. Whoever lies about me intentionally, the Prophet said, whoever lies about me intentionally, let him prepare his seat in the hellfire. Being narrated by 40 individuals, 40. Some even say 120, depending on who's narrating it, but at least 40. This hadith is rock solid. It's a piece of historical, it's a marvel of historical preservation. It's a magnificent piece. Look, we know the Prophet said that. He surely said that. That's it. So on what basis do we say he didn't? You'd have to make some kind of a foolish argument. Now, what I want you to do with the person next to you is, considering all that I've said, I want you to think about how a person who is a Quran alone will make their strongest argument and how they will play devil's advocate. We've put out there really the simple arguments, but the very cutthroat and undercutting arguments, I would say, about the Quran and the Hadith. So the task is, now put yourself in their shoes. What would you say back to this? Even though the chain is actually sound, the people are, udul, that they're fine, memory is okay, but there's some other issues. It's called ilal, hidden defects of the hadith, and there's some matan or in the text of the hadith contradictions with the Quran, and that's illa in and of itself. So for that reason, actually, we don't have a problem in saying we do believe the Quran is supreme. The other issue of abrogation, I'm not sure if I would say the majority, but it seems at least the majority, it could be, say that there's no abrogation of the Sunnah of the Quran. That position is a fine position. The position of, and we're not going to go into a deep discussion of this, but the position of the Sunnah does not abrogate the Quran. Although there are some people who argue that it does. Okay, but the majority, I would say that the Sunnah cannot or does not abrogate the Quran. Or the Quran abrogates itself, and it can abrogate the Sunnah, but the Sunnah cannot abrogate the Quran.
Ladies and gentlemen, seriously, what did you just hear? Like, what did we just hear? Well, like, what were we listening to? Right? You get the point, right? This is how it feels like. Let me show you what we just heard, what it feels like. Listen.
They think they are sensible and they keep on making mistakes.
Now that's how it feels like. You understand? They think they are sensible and they keep on making the same mistakes. Right? And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you one thing. If the Quran alone, the Muslims who happen to advocate for the Quran alone guidance, when I say Quran alone, doesn't mean we believe in the Quran alone. Of course, we believe in the previous scriptures, right? And when I say previous scriptures, it is what the Quran confirms. If Quran confirms anything from the past, like, we are in line with it. Anything the Quran confirms, we believe in that. If you want to understand that, read Quran chapter 2, verse 2 to verse 5. You understand what I mean, right? You believe in what was sent before and then what was sent now, right? Okay. Now, what Mohammed Hijab just did is showing you how the Quran alone movement is becoming a threat for these guys. You understand? When something is not a threat to you, you don't pay attention. You don't even mind. Let me give you an example. Let's say there's a snake behind me, right? If I don't find it a threat, I will not be looking behind me like this. I will not even mention it. I will not even tag it anyway. I don't give a damn if something is not a threat. The moment people start giving attention to something, you understand that this kind of people, you are becoming a threat. So now they have to find a way to tackle. Right? So this is why you see the mushrik lanting, the Mohammed Hijabs, the Ali Dawas, you mentioned them. They are becoming so concerned about this, trying to put a fence wall around their people. You understand? So they think they have the biggest arguments, and yet they don't dare come out for a dialogue. They are only going to their small spaces, and then they find some ordinary person who just happens to say, okay, now I'm following the Quran. Then they test their might there. You understand? And then they think, oh, yeah, you see, that's Quran alone. They are confused. So this same Mohammed Hijab was the one who says, if you follow the Quran alone, you end up sleeping with a child. You'll be a pedophile, according to this guy. He's insulting the Quran indirectly, right? So these are the people who are against the Quran. But people don't see it that way, right? So they think they are sensible, but they keep on making mistakes, but they don't see that. So Baba Shuaib is going to help you guys. I'm doing this kind of program for the sake of this audience who watch this kind of people, and you think because he's in the limelight, so he's making sense. And then because you think he's an Arab. Look, as a matter of fact, most Arabs don't even know the Quran. I'm not joking. It's not an insult. I'm telling you the reality. You read chapter 9, verse 97, you understand what I'm saying. A lot of Arabs, they try to change the Al-Arab to mean Bedouins. It is not Baduna. Baduna, God knows what Badun is. Quran chapter 33, verse 20. Baduna fil Arab, God knows that, if he wants to mention Bedouins. Now, what a lot of the Arabs will do is try to change the understanding of Quran chapter 9, verse 97, because God says, وَأَجْدَرُ أَلَّا يَعْلَمُ حُدُودَ مَا أَنزَلَ عَلَى رَسُولِهِ. They are the most likely not to know the limits, the hudud of what God has sent, revealed to his messenger. Now, if you don't understand it, this is a broad topic I can tackle on later on to give you the breakdown. Now, when God says Al-Arab ashadu kufr, it doesn't mean all Arabs are hypocrites. Even Prophet Muhammad is an Arab himself. It doesn't mean he's a hypocrite. If you want to understand the context, read chapter 9, verse 97, 98, 99. Some Arabs are very good. They are pious. They are closer to God. You understand? Then we have some Arabs who are actually hypocritical. But when it comes to words of disbelief, words of hypocrisy, God is showing you who can do the best, better than you. You understand? So this is why they have the Quran, but they are pushing the Quran down to elevate the man-made books over the Quran. So to the extent they will tell you, oh, the Quran and the Sunnah, they are hand in hand. They go hand in hand. They are equal. They go, you understand? Now, this is what we classify as hypocrisy. And when we say kufr, disbelief, to reject something, you understand, to cover it, to be ungrateful to it, that is kufr, kafar. So a kufr is actually to see the truth and conceal it, to cover it and tell you something else. That is a kafir. You understand? And this is what most of the Arabs, I'm not saying all Arabs, no. Most of the Arabs, this is what they do. You understand? So people like Mohammed Hijab, people who actually listen because one, he's an Arab, and two, British man. You understand? British. Water. So then they will think, oh, yeah, mashallah, he's from Harvard, right? I think, for those in UK, help me out. Harvard, right? We can have an educated fool. Remember that. Don't forget that. Somebody can be educated, but he's a fool. Okay. So now let's tackle him one by one, just like I do correctional officer against the scholars. But I don't consider Mohammed Hijab as a scholar. This is the guy who said you can lie. To lie is halal in Islam. He said that. He says in Islam you can. Oxford, right? Is it Oxford? Okay, good. Somebody, I had a correction. Thank you, Muslima. And it's from he went to Oxford, right? So thank you for the correction. Yes. Now, these are the kind of people, right, that when they speak in the public, their speech will impress you, because you see normally when he speaks with the chin high like this and try to, So now let me go step by step. I'm going to crush him, right? I did crush him when he lied about the prophet, saying you can lie, you understand, and then how they look down on women. And these are the same people who are trying to propagate this ideology into the British system, judiciary system, especially UK. Yeah? Okay. If you allow these kind of people to take over, you are screwed. I'm serious, to be honest. So beware. Okay. Okay. Now, let me play back the video. Okay, Sister Hannah is saying something. She said, hey, if you see this, can you hit the like button? This helps algorithm spread. Yeah, thank you very much, Sister Hannah. I appreciate the gift as well. She said you should press the like and share so that the algorithm can then push it forward. And I know, because I'm tackling Mohammed Hijab, and I'm going to tag him after this, so he must see it, right? So I'm going to keep it as best as possible. Okay, so let's go step by step.
We're going to be covering something very important, which is the Qur'ani movement, the Qur'an alone movement, the Munkir as-Sunnah movement, the people who reject the Sunnah. And
so you see the honorable presentation and description he's given us on the red carpet. He is going to present us, which is the Qur'aniyun, the Qur'anists, the Munkar of the Sunnah. That, you understand? You see the platform he's given us. He's presenting us wonderfully. You understand? It means you have become a threat to them. And not only them, I know a lot of them who actually do that. And for those based in UK, I think this guy has been on the run for a long time. Jake Brancatella, the Mushrik metaphysician. If you are watching me, I know you're watching me. You used to be in my inbox long time ago when you were following the Quran alone. You, the Mushrik metaphysician, Jake Brancatella, you used to be in my inbox, giving me thumbs up for the job I do, right? But now when they send you message and say, come and dare Baba Shribe, you are on the run. Huh? Yeah, Jake American. I know he's an American. You are on the run, Baba Shuaib, because you think you have a large fan base, right? You guys see yourself like celebrities. Don't worry, I'll follow you. I'll get to that level. And when we see if really, really you are celebrities or not, your excuse is, oh, Baba Shuaib doesn't have large following, so I'm not going to tackle him. You are scared. I'm going to dismantle your organizations. Don't worry, Jake. I'll get to your level again. That popularity you have, inshallah, I'll get there. And we will see your excuse. If you keep running away, we are going to see. So you have become the puppet for these people, because on this program, Mohammed Hijab actually called him, Jake, he called him in the program, right? If you watch the full program, this is, I think, a recent video. So people who got to watch will get to know what I'm saying, right? But don't worry, Jake, correctional officer will get you at the right time, okay? Jake Brancatella, you. Don't worry. Let's go.
And these people really are seen by Muslim people not to be actually Muslims at all.
So it says, we the ones who follow the Quran alone for guidance when it comes to Islam, we are seen by the majority of the people. Majority of the people. That the majority are saying they don't see us as Muslims. And thank God, Islam doesn't belong to the majority of the people, right? Thank God for that. Islam doesn't belong to the majority of the people, and neither does it belong to the scholars. Islam belongs to God. Quran chapter 3 verse 19, Inna dina inda lail Islam, right? Inna dina inda lail al-Islam. So the deen, it belongs to God. It doesn't belong to your scholars. It doesn't belong to you, Mohammed Hijab. So if you don't classify us as Muslims, no problem, because at the end of the day, we are all going to stand in front of God. It is not in front of Mohammed Hijab or your Mufti Menks or Zakir Naiks we are going to stand to be judged. So who cares if you guys don't see us as Muslim? After all, the faith doesn't belong to you guys. You guys created actually a parallel religion where you are fooling people and like pushing women down below you, not giving them any pedestal, and you think women are just something you just enjoy sexually and put on the side. That's it. That's what you guys think. To the extent you are saying you can lie to women and it's halal in Islam. No problem. Let's go forward.
Since the religion of Islam really comprises of the Quran and the Sunnah.
Now he went ahead to say religion of Islam comprises of Quran and Sunnah. You see how they keep using their opinions, speaking. And because they have the large following, so they think whatever they say is in line. Let me give you one secret. Look, fame plays a major role in the way people say things. Even if they are twisting it, people will go with the flow because of the fame. When you have a large fan base, right? Even if you do, people will agree with that. You understand? Because of the fame. Baba Shuaib, I've not gained the fame yet. But you can see I'm using my intellect to make you reason. Examine the truth. Don't say, oh, because Baba Shuaib is up there, so I agree with whatever he's saying, right? Examine the things I say so that you can reflect and get the knowledge. Don't be like a sheep. I'm not looking for sheep behind me. I don't need any sheeple fans. No. I need educated people behind me. And even to come and surpass me, I'm okay with that, so far as you are educated and not like a fool in the sectarian religions. You understand? So what I'm doing is to wake up the masses, and this is a pledge I made for a long time for people who know me personally. It's a pledge I made unto myself, and this is why you see me fearless. I don't fear any mushrik on earth. Yes, I do what I'm doing because I know the covenant I took with God. That's why I do what I do. I'm serious. So all what I'm doing is I'm waking the dead as is up. Wake up, study, reflect, ask questions. Don't just believe everything you are told. According to Quran chapter 17 verse 36, وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ. Do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. Indeed, the hearing, the eyesight, and the mind, all those will be held accountable thereof. Mas'ula, God will question you because he gave you these faculties for a reason. So don't be a sheeple. Look, my kids, I have 2 kids. I don't even expect them to just obey everything I say just like that. They should ask me so that I explain. If it makes sense, I tell them, if it makes sense, please, no argument. So they don't argue. If when I put the argument on the table and I say, does it make sense? They are like, yeah. Then I said, then no argument. If it is video game, my son is playing and I say, I told you after 30 minutes, it has to go off. Then when it's time to off, I ask him, did I tell you or not? He says, yeah, I told you. And I said, what is the argument now? Switch it off. He will just go and switch it off. No arguments. I'm serious. This is the way I raise my kids. You understand? So now we put my kids outside. I need intellectual people. When you read my profile, go to my bio on all my platforms, my channels. I write that I only lecture intelligent people to the truth in religion. So please, if you are emotionally weak and a fool, leave my page, because I'm here. I'm looking for intelligent people. They can help me and we help each other to fight these mushriks away, just like Abraham cracked all the idols of his people. Yes, we can do that. You think it's a joke, right? Rome was not built in a day, right? But you just take a day to crack it down. And that is why Baba Shuaib is doing these videos. Yes, because my videos will give you a motivation to also speak up, because you know the secrets of these people, because they cannot hide their secrets anymore. We know them. And this is why Mohammed Hijab has a video like this. So let's go.
And so the Quran alone movement, I don't think any sect of Islam really considers these individuals as an actual, even a sect of Islam.
You see? Thank God they don't consider us as a sect of Islam. I appreciate that, because we are not a sect. We just hold the title as Muslims, submitters. Quran chapter 27 verse 91. Prophet himself says, "Wa umirtu an akuna min al-muslimin." I have been commanded to be of the Muslims. It's not a sect. Yes, it's not a sect. When we say a sect, it's a subdivision of a group which actually have their own principles and legislations and everything differently from the original main focus. That's what a sect is. That's why they have the Ahl Sunnah, they have the Tijaniya, Shia, Ahmadiyya. You mentioned them. Those are sects because they have their own principles that they follow, different from the main book of God. Do you get my point? So if you, the mushriks, don't consider us as a sect, thank God. We appreciate that. You understand? And then so if you think we are not Muslims, that is your assumption. You just assume, right? You can't prove it from the words of God unless you do their interpolations. And I dare all your so-called public speakers that you have. Look, I'm not looking for where you put 10 people on a platform and you bring Baba Shuaib as if it's an interrogation. No. I need all of you one by one. And I dare you, it's a challenge. Wallahi, lies, I will dismantle all of you. You dare me one-on-one dialogue. I dare all of you. Wallahi, lazim. All of you, one-on-one. Let's go.
But it's important for us because of the age of social media and globalization and technological kind of being able to speak to people across the world.
You see how important is there for them? Now, Mohammed Hijab is telling you it's important for them to address this issue. Because of the social media, and how this world is becoming a global village, because social media has made it a small world. Thanks to God, Baba Shuaib is in somewhere in a little country in Europe, but you can listen to me all over the world. Last time, somebody from Fiji sent me a message. Somebody from Aruba, somebody from, you mentioned them. Was it Papua New Guinea? And somebody sent somebody from, St. Martin. I saw people from other countries. I was like, oh my God. You also listen to Baba Shuaib? You're like, yeah, I watch your videos. I love you. I'm like, really? Thanks to God. So we are becoming a threat for these mushriks. Yeah? Okay.
And therefore these shubuhat or misconceptions have increased. But we understand what this movement is all about. We know how to answer this movement from the Quran itself, ironically enough for them. But before I do that, I wanted to actually read a hadith. Now, this hadith is not Bukhari Muslim.
This hadith is not Bukhari or Muslim. Let's see. Before he goes there, he's going to quote their hadith as a normal ceremony, opening ceremony. He's going to use their own book. I told you, these guys are mushriks. Opening ceremony, he didn't use the Quran. He's going to use the hadith to convince the hadithiyuns, the Bukhariyuns. But sorry, he said it is not Bukhari or Muslim. This is Jami at-Tirmidhi he's going to quote, right? So let's see.
But it's a very interesting one, and I'm not reading it as an evidence against them, because I want someone, from this movement to take this hadith and say, well, actually, you're using these hadiths and so on. No, we're not using this as an evidence for you.
If you are not using it as an evidence, why do you want to quote it? Mohammed Hijab. If you are not going to use it as an evidence, why are you presenting it? Let it make sense. He says he's not going to use it as an evidence, but he wants to quote it before making his argument. Does it make sense?
Because the evidences for them will be strictly from the Quran, I think.
The evidence for us will be from the Quran, but evidence for you and your people is the Hadith, right? So this is why we call you Hadithiyuns. You are mushriks, because you have created a different religion. Your evidence is based on the Hadith, not the Quran. So Mohammed Hijab actually testified that he's going to quote the Hadith for his people, not for the ones who follow the Quran. He says we need evidence from the Quran, and we are going to see if actually he has the evidence from the Quran to actually tackle us. Let's check.
Sufficient, but it's just for our sake, our purposes, to see that this is actually a prophecy of the Prophet.
This is a prophecy. This you are going to quote is a prophecy from Jami al-Tirmizi 2664. It's a prophecy. We are going to check.
Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We mentioned that there were many prophecies of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We actually use this to evidence the veracity of the message of Islam. And this is one of them. The hadith states, يُوشَكُ أَنْ يَقْعُدُ الرَّجُلُ مُتَّكِئًا عَلَى أَرِيكَتِهِ, that there will soon come a time the man, or the person, in this case is the man, but it's a general phrase, will be مُتَّكِئًا عَلَى أَرِيكَتِهِ. He will be reclining on his sofa or couch or, seated thing. يُحَدِّثُ بِحَدِيثٍ مِّنْ حَدِيثِ فَيَقُولُ. So someone will speak to him of a hadith, of one of my hadiths, and so he will say, بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمْ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ, that between us and you is the kitab, the book of Allah, meaning the Quran, right? فَمَا وَجَدَنَا فِيهِ مِنْ حَلَالٍ إِسْتَحْلَلْنَاهِ, whatever we find in it which is halal, we have made halal. وَمَا وَجَدَنَا فِيهِ مِنْ حَرَامٍ حَرَّمْنَاهِ, and whatever we find in it from haram, we will make haram. In other words, we will consider haram, right? وَإِنَّ مَا حَرَّمَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ مِثْلَ مَا حَرَّمَ اللَّهِ. And this is now the Prophet giving his commentary. He says, however, whatever the Prophet has made halal, or haram in this case, is as if Allah has made it haram. Meaning that we as Muslims don't believe in just one type of revelation.
My Yoruba people would say Otilo or Otitan. Otito or Otilo. It's finished. It's gone. It's finished. This guy is finished. He's gone. This Olodo is gone. Okay. Now he's quoting an hadith. Let me put the hadith on the screen, right? Let me put the hadith. This is the hadith. It's Jami at-Tirmidhi. Jami at-Tirmidhi, right? 2664. And that is at the hadith al-Miqdam bin Madikarib, narrated that the messenger, he says, the messenger said, lo, soon a hadith. But in the Arabic, they use al-hadith, the hadith. And we are going to examine this hadith and in line with the Quran, that what hadith, what the messenger is saying, talking about, right? And he says messenger, these people will say prophet. Now, I'm going to use the Quran to cross-check something for you. If they quote this hadith as an argument, many a times you see them quoting. I've seen a lot of people from UK, like people like Adnan Rashid. Adnan Rashid, I saw one of his videos, he's quoting this. I've seen people like from the UK, how can I say? I've seen quite a number of people, and including Mohammed Hijab, they all use this hadith a lot as a bailout. We are going to scrutinize the hadith if actually it falls in line with what they are saying. Let's check. So he says, lo, soon a hadith from me. Actually, it is the hadith from me. The hadith. The. And if you want to know why I'm saying that, when you read the Arabic version, it says, Ala hal asa rajulun yabuluguhul hadith al hadith. So if you're watching from the screen, for those on Facebook, on YouTube, you can see it. Those on TikTok cannot see it, right? Then it says, al hadithu anni. Al hadithu. The hadith, not hadith. He didn't say a hadith. It is al hadith. It is the hadith. We all know the hadith that Prophet brought, which is the Quran. That is the hadith. And I will show you evidence from the Quran. You see the hadith the messenger brought. Now, cross-check their own book to see the discrepancy these people are trying to bring. Right? So the hadith says, Ala hal asa rajulun yabluguhul hadithu anni wa huwa muttaki'un ala arikatihi. Then he says, fayaqulu baynana wa baynakum kitabullah fama wajadna fihi halala halalnahu. Then he says, wama wajadna fihi harama. Then he says, haramnahu. Then he says, wa innama harrama rasulullahi kama harrama Allah. Now this is the hadith, what it's saying. Now it uses Rasulullah. The hadith used the messenger, not the prophet, the messenger. And the hadith mentioned al-hadith. It didn't say the hadith of Sahih Bukhari. It didn't say hadith of Sahih Muslim or Jami al-Tirmizi and so on. Remember, the prophet never prophesied about Sahih Bukhari. He never made a prophecy about Sahih Muslim or Jami al-Tirmidhi or Abu Dawood or Sunan Ibn Nisa or whatever. He never made a prophecy like that. Okay. So in the translation, do you see what they did? Then they write a hadith. It is not a hadith. It says the hadith. And the question is, which hadith? So the scholars will be quoting this hadith because people never cross-check to ask them the question. Which hadith? Because we all know the hadith God talks about is the Quran. And that is what the messenger brought. And so in order to be consistent, to show you the lies of these people, let me take you to the Quran and show you something. First of all, I put this on the page. Let me present the Quran to you. Right? When I take you to Quran chapter 68, verse 44, look what God told the prophet, the messenger. He says, Fazarni waman yukazzibu bihazal al-hadith. That is it on the screen. Chapter 68, verse 44. Hazal al-hadith. That is the hadith the messenger brought. Hey, Kwekumanaka, I see you, bro. Hazal al-hadith. Sanastadrijuhum min haythu la ya'lamun. So leave me. God, listen to what God is saying. Leave me with whoever denies this hadith. This hadith. The Quran, right? We will gradually advance them from where they do not know because God is going to deal with them. Apart from that, Quran chapter 56, verse 77. I'm going to read up to verse 82 and see something which hadith was given to the messenger to bring. God says, Innahu la Quran al-Kareem. Then he says, Fi kitabim maknoon. La yamassuhu illa al-mutahharun. Then he says, Tanzilu min rabbil alameen. Afa bihazal al-hadith. Antum mudhinun. Afa bihazal hadith. Antum mudhinun. So God is saying, indeed, it is a noble reading. The Quran is a noble reading. Then it says in a protected book. The book is protected. That's why it has numbers. Anything which has numbers has been codified, which means it's protected. Then it goes, none will grasp it except the purified. Verse 80, a revelation from the Lord of the worlds. Verse 81, so is it about this hadith? You are compromising. Salam, Ismail Naganka. Is it about this hadith? You are compromising. So you can see al-hadith is the Quran. Al-hadith is the Quran. Do you get the point? So now when we go to the extent, and these people are telling you about saying that, let me go, where is it? Oh, did I stop it? Oh, sorry. Let me put it back. Sorry. When we go back to their hadith, in the Arabic, when the messenger is saying, according to them, ala hal asa rajulun yabuluguhul al hadithu anni. Al hadith, which hadith? Which hadith? Al hadith, the hadith. Which is the hadith? The only hadith given to the messenger was the Quran. You are a fool to think any other al hadith was given to the messenger aside the Quran. Wallahi lazim, you are the biggest fool ever to think when we say al hadith, the Prophet was giving any other al hadith other than the Quran. So when the messenger says, ala hal asa rajulun yabluguhu al hadith anni wa huwa muttaki'ul ala arikatihi fayaqulu baynana wa baynakum kitabullah. Now let's go and see if the messenger is going to say something bad about this. Then he says, فَمَا وَجَدْنَا فِيهِ حَلَالًا أَسْتَحَلَلْنَاهُ وَمَا وَجَدْنَا فِيهِ حَرَامًا حَرَّمْنَاهُ. Then he says, وَإِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ كَمَا حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ. So now tell me, in this hadith we are quoting, where did the messenger speak against people who uphold the book of God? Hey, Bushirikenga. This hadith I'm quoting, listen, that's the full hadith I just quoted. Show me in this hadith where the messenger is speaking against. And you see the foolish mushriks telling you, there will be a time you see somebody sitting in a couch with a big belly. Where does it say big belly there? Oh, with a big belly, with a cushion. They say, and they will mention you. Have you heard them before? They will mention the cushion, and he has a cushion, and then you say, follow only the Quran. Whatever you see haram there is haram. Whatever you see, no. Tell me, what did the messenger say wrong in this hadith? No, seriously, are these guys miscreants, bozos in their head, or what? So, Mohammed Hijab, when you say you are quoting this hadith as evidence for your people, tell me, what did the messenger say wrong in this hadith? Quran chapter 4 verse 80. God says, Man yuti rasula faqad ata Allah. Whoever obeys God has obeyed. Whoever obeys the messenger has obeyed God. Because that is the word used, messenger. Messenger will only tell you what is forbidden based on what God says. He doesn't say anything. That is why what the book of God you find halal is the halal one. Messenger will not tell you something else. So now let's go and set these people up as foolish people. I'm going to show you why they are fools. Okay, it's not an insult. A fool is somebody who likes good judgment. That's a fool. So I'm going to show you why these people are foolish people. I'm going to take you to Quran chapter 66 verse 1. Let's go and see something. In Quran chapter 66 verse 1, check. This is what the Prophet did. That is why the hadith they are quoting never mentioned Prophet. It mentioned Rasul. There's a difference between Rasul and a Nabi. The Nabi is his own title and his personal life. Whilst the messenger, he is acting on a duty. That's why God says, وَمَا عَلَى رَسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ مُبِينٌ. The only duty of a messenger is to deliver a clear message. Now, Quran chapter 66 verse 1. God is talking to the Prophet, not the messenger. Listen, somebody will say, well, is he not the same person? Yes, but different titles and different duties. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu lima tuharrimu ma ahallallahu laka tabtagi mardata azwajika wallahu ghafurur rahim. Oh, you the Prophet, why do you prohibit what God has made lawful for you, seeking the satisfaction of your wives? And God is forgiving and merciful. Now you are telling me, out of your foolishness, thinking that when the messenger says whatever the messenger made halal is the same as what God made halal, you are forgetting that he's talking about his messengership duty. Yes, if messenger tells you something is halal, it is halal according to the book of God. These people are bozos. They don't even understand their own hadith books. I'm serious. But as a prophet, if he tells you something is haram, you have to cross-check, because that is his personal life. He can use his whims and desires as a prophet. Somebody will say, Baba Shoaib, you are confusing us. Look, Baba Shoaib can be a teacher. For instance, oh yeah, I'm a teacher, right? I teach. But I'm a salesman at the same time. Yes, I do sales and marketing. Yes, by profession, I'm a sales and marketing man. Yes, but at the same time, I'm a teacher. So when we say obey the teacher, does it mean obey the sales and marketing guy? Hey, Mushirikanga Kuma, why is your understanding difficult like this? Even Salim, my 5-year-old boy, can understand this simple logic. Oh, so now they forget that in the same Quran, the Prophet was warned because he was using his whims and desires to say something is haram, whilst God has made it halal. So they will go out of their league and now trying to say, oh, you see here, we follow hadith because the hadith tells us something is haram, and then we have to take that one. Oh, seriously? These guys need to go back. So this guy, he actually is a graduate at Harvard. Is it Harvard? Harvard, Oxford. This guy, Oxford. It's Oxford, right? Oxford University. Mohammed Hijab, right? Educated bozos. Let's go again. Let's go their hadith for them. These bozos, eh? Oh, no. I wish I will get you one-on-one. You will learn by force. Let's examine the hadith again. In the hadith, the prophet, the messenger never said anything wrong. In that hadith, he never said anything wrong. He said, Ala hal asa rajulun yabuluguhul hadith anni. Al hadith anni, the hadith from me. Which hadith is that? The Quran. We all know that is the al hadith. Look, Quran chapter 52 verse 34. God says, Falihatu bi hadithin mithlihi in kanu swadikin. Let them bring a hadith like the Quran if they should be truthful. Do you have it? Do you have a hadith like the Quran? Bring it, let's see. So then the messenger says, وَهُوَ مُتَّكِئٌ عَلَىٰ آرِكَتِهِ فَيَقُولُ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمْ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ. Yeah, between us and you is the book of God. Even you, the mushriks, if we have to judge you, we have to use the book of God. Quran chapter 5 verse 44. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمُ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. Whoever does not judge by what God has revealed is a kafir. And so that's you, we, the ones who follow the Quran. We have the right to call you the Sunnis, the mushriks, kafirs. Yes, we have the right because you can only use your garbage books to judge us. We are using the book of God to judge you. Afala ta'qilun? Will you then not reason? Okay. Again, in your hadith, between you is the book of God. Just like Umar said in the hadith 5669, he says, Hasbuna kitabullah. He says the book of God is enough. So I think according to you, Umar is going to hell. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Muslim. I'll check it out. فَمَا وَجَدْنَا فِيهِ halala. Listen. فَمَا وَجَدْنَا فِيهِ halala. For whatever we found therein as halal, as tahalalnahu, then we make it halal. Yes, that is correct. Quran chapter 16 verse 116. God says, we should be careful by what you describe by your tongues to say this is halal and this is haram, in order to fabricate lies and attribute it to God. Whoever does that will not succeed. God has cautioned us with that. So whatever we find halal in the book of God, we accept. If it is haram, yes, we accept. وَمَا وَجَدْنَا فِيهِ harama haramnahu. We haram it. Then God says, and then Hadith says, وَإِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. Listen carefully. كَمَا حَرَّمَ اللَّهِ. So they use the word Rasul. So Rasul will only tell me what God says. It never says Nabi in that verse. The Hadith says whatever the prophets made halal is as what God has made halal, then it will be a clear-cut contradiction. So if the messenger says something is halal, we can see it in the book of God. Yeah, this is halal. Yes, we can check it. This is haram. Yes, we can see in the book of God. So tell me, where is the prophet or the messenger speaking against people who follow the book of God alone, Quran alone, or Kitabullah? Tell me. But this clown was quoting this hadith for his people. He says this evidence is for his people. So let's listen to the clown again.
Revelation. Meaning that he says, however, whatever the Prophet has made halal or haram in this case
Is that what the verse says? The hadith verse I just read. Is that what it says? Did he say whatever what the Prophet made halal? Is that what the verse says? Please, ladies and gentlemen, please. Is that what the verse says? The hadith verse we just read. Is that what he says? It says whatever the Prophet has made halal. Okay, let's use Mohammed Hijab opinion right now. He says whatever the Prophet has made halal is the same as what God has made halal. Then why is Quran chapter 66 verse 1 contradicting this statement Mohammed Hijab is saying? Because if whatever the Prophet made halal, listen carefully. If whatever the Prophet made halal is the same as what God has made halal, and whatever the Prophet made haram is the same as what God, then how come God said something is halal and the Prophet told his wives it is haram? Hey, Mohammed Hijabi. Hey, Oxford graduate. Oxford.
is as if Allah has made it haram. Meaning that we as Muslims don't believe in just one type of revelation.
Look at the foolish opinion he is giving again. Based on the hadith, then he went on to say, meaning we as Muslims, no, you as mushriks, confused bozo. You as mushriks believe there's not one form of revelation. You as mushriks, you believe in two versions of revelations. Yes.
We believe in two types of revelation. One type is the Quran itself, which is the most important type.
You see the hypocrite. He says most important. These guys, wallahi, they are lying to you. It is never important to them. Quran, shakai.
Undoubtedly, the most veracious type, undoubtedly, the most transmitted type, undoubtedly.
This statement he's going to say, he's going to contradict himself at the end of this same video. I'm going to show you. He will contradict his same statement. He made this statement at minutes 2.5, going to 3 minutes, right? He is going to contradict this statement against the Quran again at the end. He will say the hadith. Look, correctional officer is here for a reason. I'm just helping you to scrutinize, examine the scholars. He's not even a scholar, but examine these people and how they speak in public forums and publicly. The videos are there forever. If he likes, let him delete it on his page. We will find the video. Seriously. They are never truthful. Thank you all for the gift. Kim, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, listen.
One type is the Quran itself, which is the most important type.
One type is the Quran, which is the most important type. One.
Undoubtedly, the most veracious.
Undoubtedly.
Type, undoubtedly.
The most veracious type, which has been verified. Veracious type, undoubtedly, right? Quran. Okay.
The most transmitted type, undoubtedly.
The most transmitted type, undoubtedly.
And then you have the hadith.
And then now you have the hadith. So whenever you use a comparative word and you use the most important, the most veracious, the most transmitted, you have put it on a highest pedestal, right? Okay, now he's going to use the hadith. Look at the comparison. 5 minutes after this statement, he's going to contradict his statement.
5 pillars of Islam. For example, if someone wants to pray, where are these details found? Are they found in the Quran? Some of those details are found in the Quran, but are the exact rak'ahs, how many times you go up and how many times, none of that is found in the Quran.
So if God never mentioned rak'at, why are you doing it? No, seriously, if the Quran is the most important, it has to mention rak'at, right? Hello, are you with me? If you say the Quran is the most important, that means the most important has to mention the word raka'at for you. It never exists in the Quran. The word raka'at. I dare them. Wallahi, I'll give you my life savings. Show me the word raka'at in the Quran. I'll give you my life savings. Seriously. It doesn't exist. So if you, out of your hypocrisy, you sat here to tell us the Quran is the most important, and the most important doesn't mention raka'at, then why are you telling me it doesn't give me how many raka'ats I should do? Are you a bozo or what? No, you are a bozo. Yeah, you are a bozo. I don't need to ask you. Are you? You are a bozo. Seriously. What is wrong with this clown?
None of that is found in the Quran.
If it's not found in the Quran, why do it? If you sign a contract with a boss and those claims are not in the contract, why is the boss going to hold you accountable for it? Seriously. When you said you, the mushriks, you have two forms of revelation, did you prove it? Where's the proof? You don't have it. You are looking for Jake to help you out. You, Jake, like correctional officer gets you. You will see. Maybe that day you change your color. Seriously. Mushrik metaphysician. Let me get you. You have small fame. You think you think you are up there. Don't worry, Jake. I'll get you. You. Correctional officer will get you at the right time. Inshallah. Let's go.
So Allah is telling us to do things in the Quran. Pray, fast, go Hajj. But then we don't know how to do any of that unless we have an outside explanation.
So he mentioned a list of what God asked us to do, and he says we don't know how to do all that unless an outside explanation. Look what the Quran says. Let me show you something. These people are the enemies of the Quran. Seriously, let me show you something. They are the enemies of Islam and the Quran. I take you to Quran chapter 41, verse 3. In Quran chapter 41, verse 3, God says, Kitabun fussilat ayatuhu Qur'anan Arabiyan liqawmi ya'lamun. A book whose verses have been elaborated, an Arabic reading. And when we say Arabian, it is a book which is clearly expressed, clearly revealed, which clearly manifests itself. That is what we mean with Araba. So Arabian meaning to express something clearly, right? That is the word Arab. That is what it means, Arab. So when we say Arabian, it is a reading which has been made expressed clearly. This is why when you read when you listen to the Murattil of the Quran or the Tartil, or you listen to when they're making the reading, the Qira'ah of the Quran, you are getting the clarity of the language, of the expression. You get the clarity from it. Right? So a book whose verses, the verses written inside, have been elaborated. An Arabic reading, when we say Arabic, I just explained to you, for people who know. He didn't say for the Arabs only. No. For people who know, just like English language has been written down clearly for people who know. Does it mean it's only for English people? No. I'm not an Englishman. I just happen to know English. So if I see an expression in English and it's clear, so far as I know English, I know what it means. That's what it means here. Don't let any foolish people tell you that, oh, this is meant for only Arab people to understand. No. Okay. So the verses of the book has been expressed clearly. It's manifested clearly, right? For people who know. Okay. Quran chapter 6, verse 105. وَكَذَلِكَ نُصَرِّفُ الْآيَاتِ وَلِيَقُولُوا دَرَسْتَ وَلِنُبَيِّنَهُ لِقَوْمِ يَعْلَمُونَ. Thus have we conducted the verses. Listen carefully. The way God has done the sarf of the Quran, the arrangement, the accidents, or we say morphology of the Quran, the way God conducted the Quran, the verses, God says, thus have we what? Conducted the verses, that they may say, you, Muhammad, have studied. Because Muhammad has to study the verses of the Quran himself. That's why Quran chapter 87, verse 6 to verse 7 tells him, سَنُقْرُوكَ فَلَا تَنْسَى إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ اللَّهِ. We will make you read so that you may not forget, except for what God wills. He has to study the book. And in order to read something, you have to get it written down. Yes, you have to read it. It didn't say recite in that verse. It said read. سَنُقْرُوكَ means we will make you read. So he has to get it written down. That's why God says, Ikra bismi rabbika allazi khalaq. Khalaqa al-insana min khalaq. Ikra wa rabbuka al-akram allazi allama bil qalam. Allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam. Right? So he has taught the human being by the pen. And he taught the human being what he knew not. So if Muhammad never knew how to write, yes, he has taught him how to write now. So he can write now, right? Okay. So now, when you take chapter 6, verse 105, it's telling you, thus have we conducted the verses, that they may say you have studied, so that we may clarify it. He didn't say you, Muhammad. He says so that we, just like he told him in Quran chapter 75, verse 19. Thumma inna alayna bayanahu. That is bayana. So upon God is the clarification. So God says, وَلِنُبَيِّنَهُ لِقَوْمِ يَعْلَمُونَ, for people who know. So because when you know the Arabic expression of the Quran, you will see the clarification God has done. You will see the elaboration God has done. But people of like Mohammed Hijab, Oxford graduates, they don't know, even though he's an Arab. I'm sorry for you. Let's go.
Quran alone people many times. So I've said two things to them that has really thrown them, like they had no idea how to answer it. And you can
When you go to Hyde Park and you meet up and coming Quran alone followers, and then you win in an argument, don't think you have done the biggest job ever. Mohammed Hijab, because of you, I nearly came last year. Unfortunately, things have to go sideways. That's why I wasn't able to come. Because of you, Mohammed Hijab, I was nearly in Hyde Park last year. But I know, inshallah, the time will be right. I'll come, right? Because of you. Now, what happens is you go to Hyde Park, you just meet ordinary people who just claim, oh, Quran is enough. So then you just go with them, try to test your might. Imagine somebody claiming to be a heavyweight boxer going to test his might with a lightweight boxer, and then you are claiming your argument is valid. Seriously.
find this online. I'm not making this, I'm not bragging here.
Yes, we can find it online, but you are meeting amateurs. Why don't you find a bigger fight?
One of them is in chapter 33 of the Quran. Because
we are going to go to chapter 33 of the Quran to see your nonsensical argument.
In the Quran many times it says al-hikmah, 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 or al-hukm.
Yeah, the usual nonsense. Al-hikmah, 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 al-hukmah. He's going to make a mess out of himself right now.
Hukmah, which is, by the way, it's also a Hebrew word.
It's also a Hebrew word, by the way. He's going to teach us Hebrew now.
Which means the wisdom, right? And most mufassirun, most exegetes say this is talking about the sunnah. So we are.
You see the foolishness here. He mentioned the hikmah, the hikmah, the hikmah, the hukmah, and then he says, oh, this most of sometimes is a Hebrew word. And then straightforward, most of the Quran exegetists, the people who do the tafasirs, they say it means the sunnah. I thought you guys say the Prophet Muhammad is the one explaining the Quran. Seriously, if the Prophet Muhammad is the one explaining the Quran, what did he say the hikmah means? So why is it that the Quranic exegetists, they have to now tell you hikmah means sunnah? Oh, I thought the hadith is the one explaining the Quran for you. So the hadith couldn't tell you that hikmah means sunnah. Hey, Muhammad Hijabi. Well, your name suits you because you are Muhammad, but you have hijab on you. So you've been covered. Seriously.
So this is the usual debate. We say, okay, well, this is the Quran, and this is the sunnah. The hikmah is the sunnah, it's the wisdom.
You see? So that's how you seal the argument. So hikmah is the sunnah. Yes, you understand? Because the Quranic exegesis, like the Tafsir Ibn Kathir, Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Abbas, Jadalain, you mentioned the Tabari, Al-Bagawi, Al-Sad, Al-Qurtubi. Qurtubi, I like his name very much. Qurtubi, and then we have Suyuti. You have, you mentioned them. Yes. Because they say hikmah means sunnah. So Muhammad Hijabi is using that as an argument. Listen.
That Allah has given to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Allah has given. Remember, they sometimes quote their hadith. They say the Prophet will say something has been given to me. The Quran has been given to me and something similar. They will say something similar. And what is the similar thing? Then they will say that the sunnah. So that is what Mohammed Hijab is saying.
They say, no, this is nonsense. They say, this is your interpretation. You're superimposing your understanding.
Yeah, the point is, the difference between us and you guys is you superimpose, using the hadith to superimpose on the Quran. That's the difference between us and you. We're the one who uphold the Quran for guidance. We believe Quran is self-explanatory. It's tafsil al-kulla shay'in. Tibyanan kulla shay'in. It is on its own ahsan al-tafsira. Quran chapter 25 verse 33. The best in tafsir. The Quran. Yes. But you the mushriks, you don't believe that because you have to superimpose your ideologies from your scholars upon the Quran, which is the foolishness of the 21st century. That is where we have the division between us. We don't agree with you guys because we respect God. You don't respect God. So you will tell us your scholars are the one explaining the verses. You see the foolishness. If the prophet already explained it, why will your scholars now explain the verses? Are you not a fool? Are you not a fool?
There is one verse in the Quran where Allah is speaking to the wives of the Prophet. He says, وَاذْكُرْنَ مَا يُتْلَى فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. And
oh, we are going to go there. You see, the problem with these people is, what baffles me with these people is how they try to quote verses and then they don't actually examine the things they say. That is my problem with them, right? Yes, they don't examine how the verses they are quoting because they are so relaxed. Because the dead scholars have to do the thinking for them. They don't have to do the thinking. So don't be surprised when Mohammed Hijab is Oxford graduate and then the brain is not working. You understand how it's supposed to be working. You understand? So listen.
And mention what is, or recite what in your houses, or mention what is recited in your houses, min ayatillahi, from the ayat of Allah, the ayat, the verses of God, meaning the Quran, wal hikmah. So there are two things being recited here.
Okay, let's go to the verse. I need to put it big enough, right? Is it big enough? No, I need to put it big enough. Yeah, this is the verse on the screen. So then he says, and remember what is being recited in your homes. He's talking to the wives of the prophet, right? So he says, وَاذْكُرْنَا مَا يُتْلَى فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. Right? إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ لَطِيفًا خَبِيرًا. So he says, and remember what is being recited in your homes, you the wives of the prophet, from the verses of God and the hikmah. Indeed, God is affable and cognizant. So according to Mohammed Hijab, because the verses come in this fashion, the verse came in this fashion, automatically he thinks they are two separate things. We have to go to different books to find them. Number one, the verses of God, where do you find it? Is it not in the book? And the hikmah, where do you find it? Is it not in the book? They say no, it is in another book. So we are going to see the argument. Let's go back to Mohammed Hijab.
Two separate entities. You have the Quran and you have the hikmah. And
you see what he said? These are two separate entities. So in a different book. That's how they think. Okay.
it can't be the same thing because.
And he says it can't be the same thing. So we don't find it in the same book according to his understanding. Remember, God only says, remember what is being recited of the verses of God. Verses of God, the question is, where do you find it? In the book. Hikmah, where do you find it? It's also in the book. Quran chapter 17 verse 39. ذَلِكَ مِمَّا أَوْهَا إِلَيْكَ رَبُّكَ مِنَ الْحِكْمَةِ. Quran chapter 17 verse 39. The hikmah is also found in the book. The verses, where do you find it? In the kitab. But these people don't have common sense. I'm serious, wallahi lazim. These mushriks, no common sense. Hey, Allah mushrikan, you are making me wahala. You are making me tired too much. These are things I should be explaining to Salim. Even Salim can understand this.
A lot of them will say the hikmah is the Quran, but how?
Oh my God. A lot of them will say, what? The hikmah is in the Quran, is in the book. You find it there. Yes, it's inside. You open it and you check it inside. So when God says, Yasin wal Quran al Hakim, and the wise Quran, that wasn't even enough for you. If Baba Shuaib is taking hikmah from the Quran, automatically I become a wise man. Because the Quran is a wise book. So when we say hikmah is in the verses, why are you surprised? It's in the Quran. Why? Mohammed Hijab, what is wrong with you?
How could it be when both are being recited? And in Arabic, they say, Al-Asr.
Both are being recited. Yes, what do you expect? They have to be recited. They are coming from the same book. You find Az-Zikra in the book. You find Al-Huda, it's in the book. You find Al-Hikmah, it's there. You find whatever you want, it's there. Al-Haq is there in the book. It is a book, so they have to recite it out of it. So they recite the verses and they recite the Hikmah, is there. If you want to know the Hikmah giving, go and read chapter 17, verse 22, and read up to verse 39. You see the verses there, and it has to be recited to you. For instance, وَلَا تَخْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ. Do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. It is part of the Hikmah God has given us. It's a wisdom. Do not follow, don't pursue what you don't have knowledge. It's a tangible wisdom. That is my best verse in the Quran, and I implement this verse wherever I go. And that is why, correctional officer, I'm a lethal weapon when I'm dealing with mushriks. I ask them simple questions they cannot answer. They say, oh, you cannot follow the Quran alone without the Hadith. Then I ask them, according to who? Okay, I'm going to I'm going to check. I'll come back. They will never come back. It's a simple question. According to who? I want to know. Tell me who said I cannot follow the Quran without the Hadith. Who? Wallahi, no sectarian can answer this question. According to who? They struggle, eh? I have videos on that. Check. You will see the videos.
يقتضي العطف للمغايرة. That conjunction, like the word and, is a conjunction in English. Yeah, conjunction necessitates differentiation. This is
Arabic opinion. The Arabs, they brought this opinion. This is not an opinion coming to the Quran. We have in the Quran, we have something we call Hendiyadis. All right. Thanks to one brother who brought my attention. Hendiyadis. And I'm going to give the breakdown of the Hendiyadis, right?
a very well-known Arabic principle. Yeah.
Arabic principles, not the Quranic principles, right? I'm going to help you out so that you understand this principle that is different from the Quran. It's not the same. So let's go and check this principle in the Quran. This thing Mohammed Hijab is saying, can it be implemented in the Quran? Is it the same logic? No. I'm going to give you the example. Let's go to Quran. Let's go to Quran chapter. Let me use this to give you the example. I take you to Quran chapter 5. Verse 15, and I'm going to read to verse 16, right? Now, chapter 5, verse 15, it says, Ya al-kitab, kad ja'akum rasuluna. Then it says, Yubayyinu lakum kathiran mimma kuntum tukhfuna min al-kitab, wa yahfu an kathir. Kad ja'akum min Allahi nurun wa kitabun mubin. So I'm going to show you something. Now, check the screen. It says, Nurun wa kitabun mubin. It mentioned two things. But now check what God is going to do. You see the Y is in the middle. Even though it's a conjunction, doesn't necessitate that there's a separation in the Quran, according to this Quranic logic. So I'm going to show you so that you understand. Verse 16, then God says, Yahdi bihi. He didn't say bihima. He's not mentioned two separate things. This logic is to let you know that those two things God mentioned are found in the same place. This Nurun and Wakitabim Mubin are together, not separate. So God used the word Yahdi bihi. He says, by which, by it, he used a masculine pronoun to address for two things. So in English, they will use the word Hendiadis. So let me put it on the page so that people who are not acquainted with this can now know what it means. Just a second. Let me put it on the screen. Okay. So what I'll do is this, and I share the screen. Wait, just a second. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, look at the screen. Now, what you are seeing here is what we call the Hendiadis. is hendiadis. And this hendiadis is a what? It's a use of two conjoined nouns instead of a noun and a modifier. So it's a conjoined noun, two nouns, but even though there's a conjunction in the middle, it's still two things, but the modifier. So it has been used in the Quran, but that doesn't mean it has been separated. They are conjoined. So now what happens is, when God says in this verse, let me put the verse again on the screen. When God says in Quran chapter 5 verse 16, when you start from verse 15, it says, by it, God guides those who follow his approval to the ways of peace. Yahdi bihi. Chapter 5 verse 15 to verse 16. Go and check. Then the next verse. The next evidence is found in Quran chapter 2 verse 231 to show you something. Because the mushriks, they don't study the Quran, so they don't know all these things I'm talking about. Now here, I'm going to read in Quran chapter 2 verse 231. It says, وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَمَا أَنزَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. That is the hikmati. Then he says what? يَئِذِكُمْ bihi. This يَئِذِكُمْ bihi, God used bihi to represent the al-kitab and the hikmah together. He didn't separate them. So he says bihi. If they are two separate things, he will have said bihima. So he says bihi. So now the English translation, then we go by what? He says, but remember the blessing of God upon you, right? Upon you, and that which has been revealed to you of the book and the al-hikmah, the wisdom, by which, or we say by it, he admonishes you. In Arabic, because the eloquence of the Quranic Arabic is unique and is better than any Arabic dialect or language out there, this Quran is the best in terms of Arabic language. So now, if God is saying the Al-Kitab and Hikmah, then he says, Ya'izukum bihi. He didn't say bihima. Mohammed Hijab is sitting there saying two separate things. Another example, the Oxford guy. Chapter 42, verse 52. In Quran chapter 42, verse 52, God says, وَكَذَلِكَ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ رُوحًا مِّنْ أَمْرِنَا. Then he says, وَمَا كُنْتَ تَدْرِي مَا الْكِتَابُ وَلَا الْإِيمَانُ وَلَكِنْ جَعَلْنَاهُ. He used the word جَعَلْنَاهُ نُورًا نَهْدِي بِهِ مَنْ نَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا. Okay. So now God used a masculine pronoun to allocate to the book and the iman. He mentioned two nouns. The book is a noun, and then the faith is a noun. But God used one masculine pronoun to address the two things. So this is what we call the hendiadis. It's a conjoined noun. So now, and thus we have inspired the spirit of our command to you, Muhammad. You did not know what the book was, or the faith, but we have made it. So God used the word ja'alnahu. He didn't say ja'alnahuma or hima. But this so-called people like Mohammed Hijab, who is an Arab based in Britain, a graduate of Oxford University, still doesn't know the Quran to this extent. And out of his foolishness, still telling you the Hadith will explain the Quran. And Baba Shuaib out of the Gates of Africa, Ghana, teaching you the Quran. Because you think when we say Quran is an Arabic language, it means it belongs to you, the Arabs. No, I beg your pardon. It doesn't. It's the book of God. Okay. Now, this is a free education, free teaching for this Oxford guy. So let's go again. Let's go and listen to this clown.
If you have two things, ayatullah and the hikmah, and there's a waw in between them, that must mean they're two different things, which can be recited. Interesting.
Which can be recited. They are coming from the same book. Allah.
Meaning it can be mentioned by mouth. And that Allah is telling the wives of the Prophet to mention both, not just one.
This is his argument. Allah, these guys, I told you, they are bozos. You think I'm joking? I'm telling you, Baba Shrab is here to expose these scholars to you, to show you how bozofied they are.
So what is this al-hikmah then? Wallahi, فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي kafar. And I will say it like this, he has no response to that whatsoever.
Oh my God. Oh my God, my God. This guy is letting me laugh for free. My laugh is very expensive now. The signature laugh I normally have is becoming very expensive. I don't need to be using it in Mohammed Hijab. The hikmah is found in Quran chapter 17, verse 39. God was literally telling the Prophet, ذَلِكَ مِمَّا أَوْحَى إِلَيْكَ رَبُّكَ مِنَ الْحِكْمَةِ. It is in the Quran, please. Oxford Bozo. This should be your new name, Oxford Bozo. It fits you, actually. It fits you. Let's go.
So that's one thing. The other thing is
So now we finish one down. He thinks there's no answer for this one. So one down, we are done with that. Why don't you come for the lion? Why are you going for the, how do you say? You are going for the, what can I give the example? Okay, it's okay. Let's go.
the argument of the qira'at. We know that we went through this.
Yeah, here we go again. Hafs and Warsh qira'at. Yeah, that's the argument always. Yeah, how do you know the difference? Maliki Yawmiddin. Let's go and check. The Oxford Bozo.
The preservation thing. We have something, the qira'at of the Quran, the ahruf. أنزل القرآن على 7 أحرف.
He's again quoting the hadith, saying that the Quran has been revealed in 7 different versions, like the recitations. He's using hadith as his evidence again. They cannot use the Quran. I'm serious. I dare any mushrik watching me. Prove to me one verse from the Quran where God says he revealed the Quran in 7 different versions. Bozos like you. You leave the Quran, you created another religion, giving us foolish stories, and you think you are making sense. I dare you. I'll get you one-on-one. You don't worry. You think I'm boasting, right? Well, we'll see at the right time. In Ghana, when we say Gafili Gadochi, do you know what it means? One-on-one. I'll get you. Exactly. Exactly. Why go for it's vice versa. Why go for the gazelle when you can go for the lion? You should go for the lion instead. Why are you going for the gazelle? The lion is here. Mohammed Hijab. I know your excuses. You people, you always say he's not famous. So I wouldn't want to face him. He's not famous. And yet when I become famous, you'll be running away again. Why don't you face me now that I'm not famous? Is it not better to face me now when I'm not? Because when I become famous, you'll be hiding. You will see. Inshallah. Let's go.
The Quran has been revealed with 7 ahruf.
Can you prove that, Mohammed Hijab? Show me one verse in the Quran where God says the Quran has been revealed in 7 ahruf. You people keep using your garbage books to justify any nonsensical things in Islam. And you think you're making sense. Correctional officer will use one question to strike all your idols down. Seriously. Where is this nonsense coming from? The Quran? Let's go and check.
Modes. So you'll find some on select words.
Okay, he is saying there's 7 ahruf. Let's go and ask the Quran. Is it 7 ahruf? Is that what the Quran says? Let's check. Quran chapter 2, verse 121. First of all, if somebody tells you there are 7 different versions of the Quran, that recitation or whatever, first of all, quote Quran chapter 2, verse 121. I'm going to put it on the screen, right? That's the one you have to quote. In Quran chapter 2, verse 121, this is what God says. الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يتلونه حق تلاوته أولئك يؤمنون به وَمَنْ يَكْفُرُ بِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. Those to whom we have given the Al-Kitab, which they recite its true recitation. God didn't say their true recitations. It's true recitation, one, not two, not three recitations. Tilawatihi means recitation. So when you recite the book with its true recitation, not recitations, then it says those will believe in it. And we do believe in it. And whoever disbelieves in it, then they are those who are the losers. That is number one argument. Give them this verse. There is nothing like 7 haruf or 7 versions of Qira'at. It doesn't exist in the Quran. So first of all, when I started this lecture, I told you some questions can be wrong questions and they are foolish questions. Do you understand? So when it is a wrong question, don't answer. Fix the question. Baba Shuaib, I'm teaching you how to face these mushriks. Leave me with Mohammed Hijab. He will not last for 5 minutes. I'll dismantle all his brain, the Oxford brain he has in the head. You don't go and learn wisdom from Oxford University or Howard University, or you mentioned the universities in the world. They don't teach you wisdom. Yes, they teach you people's opinions where you become a graduate and you think you are educated. So we can have people who are educated fools. Yes. So now, chapter 2, verse 121, write it down. First argument. Now again, we go to chapter 10, verse 15. Chapter 10, verse 15, listen what the prophet said. وَإِذَا تُتُلَ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا بَيِّنَاتٍ. Then he says, قَالَ الَّذِينَ لَا يَرْجُونَ لِقَاءَنَا آتِي بِقُرْآنِ غَيْرِ هَذَا أَوْ بَدِّلْهُ. Then he says, قُلْ مَا يَكُونُ لِي أَنْ أُبَدِّلَهُ مِنْ تِلْكَاءِ النَّفْسِ إِنْ أَتَّبِعُ إِلَّا مَا يُوحَى إِلَيَّ. Then he says what? إِنِّي أَخَافُ إِنْ أَصَيْتُ رَبِّي عَذَابَ يَوْمٍ عَظِيمٍ. So it says, and when our verses are recited to them as evidences, as proofs, those who do not hope to meet us, that is God, bring a Quran other than this. It was only one book given to Muhammad. It was only one Quran given to Muhammad. It was only one version given to Muhammad. Where are these foolish bozos getting the opinion that there are 7 different versions? Just like they keep telling you the raka'at. Wallahi, no mushrik on earth can prove to you the word raka'at in the Quran or raka'at where it says raka'at. It doesn't exist. No mushrik can tell you where it says 7 aharuf or qira'at of the Quran. It's not from the Quran. So if the Quran, according to you, Mohammed Hijab, the Oxford Bozo, you said the Quran is the most important book. So the most important book never mentioned 7 aharuf. Where did you get this foolish opinion from? The garbage books, right? Yeah. So now, chapter 10, verse 15. They tell Muhammad, bring a Quran other than this. He has one copy. And when we say this, it's T-H-I-S, Haza. In Arabic, T-H-I-S. It means this in front of you. They could see the version Muhammad has. It was only one version. So now, then they say, oh, change it. Badiluhu means to change it. Masculine pronoun is talking about the object, which is a masculine object, which is the Quran or the Al-Kitab, because in the Quran, God uses the masculine pronoun to address to the book or to the Quran. Simple. So now, then the messenger is going to respond. Ma yakunu li an ubaddilahu. It is not for me to change it. Min tilka in nafsi, spontaneously by myself. So he cannot change it. It's only one version. So where did you guys get the different versions from? Because the Hadith is telling you. Hey, the Bukhari use, the Hadith use. Because the Hadith told you there are different versions. And you agree. Yeah, just like that, you agree. Okay. Then he says, I only follow what is inspired to me. So it was one revelation he had. Right? It was one. Then he says, indeed, I fear the punishment of a terrible day if I should disobey my Lord. For people who don't know that Muhammad was given only one revelation, inspiration. Let me show you. Quran chapter 17, verse 73. So in case these people are telling you there are seven qira'at, versions of Quran or different, quote these verses I'm giving you right now. Chapter 2, verse 121. Quran chapter 10, verse 15. And Quran chapter 17, verse 73. Let me read it for you. In Quran chapter 17, verse 73, it says, وَإِن كَادُوا لَيَفْتِنُونَكَ عَنِ الَّذِي أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ لِتَفْتَرِيَ عَلَيْنَا غَيْرَهُ وَإِذًا لَا تَخَذُوكَ خَلِيلًا. And although they almost will have enticed you, Muhammad, away from what we have inspired to you, or we inspired to you, that you might fabricate other than it. The word gairahu means other than it, and it's a masculine pronoun. In Arabic, we say domir, pronoun. So that masculine pronoun, it represents the Quran. It represents the Al-Kitab. God didn't say gairahima or gairahuma. He never revealed two revelations. But the Bozo, the Oxford Bozo, he is saying, we Muslims, we Mushriks, we believe in two revelations. Where is the second revelation from? Where? In the Quran? Come and show me. Come, show me. Where does it say two revelations? Oxford Bozo. Now, then God says, other than it, other than the Quran, it was the only revelation he had. So now about us, and in that case, they will have taken you as a friend. So that is why these mushriks hate us when we uphold the Quran for guidance. They hate you. Oh, I'm serious. They hate you more than a Christian. Look, somebody like Mohammed Hijab will tolerate a Christian sitting next to him, but we hate the one who follows the Quran alone. He hates you. I'm serious. He hates you. Do you know why? Because the Hadith told him to hate you. Let's go.
700 to be exact, in the Quran, which is about 77,000 words. You can read it in more than one way. How do you explain that without this hadith?
You see again. So do you see how they give credence to their hadith books? They superimpose their hadith books over the Quran. But look, consciously, they will deny it. Subconsciously, they are superimposing on it every time in their speech. Do you understand? So, Baba Shoaib, what I'm doing to my audience is to help you weaponize you against these mushriks, so that when you confront them, when you want to ask them questions publicly, this is how you set them up as scapegoats for everybody to see. Yes.
You would have to say there's been some kind of manipulation. So when you put that to them, what do you accept, Malik or Malik? And whatever you choose, the other one that you...
So the argument of Malik and Malik, the Malik Yawmiddin, you find it in the version, they gave it the name Hafs version. The Malik Yawmiddin, you find it in the version, they gave it the Warsh version. Those are the two most popular versions of the Quran in the world. Let me tell you why Hafs version is more sensible than the Warsh version. And I dare any of them to have a dialogue with me on this. I'll explain to you. Now, we came and met a Quran where they wrote some people's name inside, not in the Quran itself, in the cover of the Quran, saying this is Hafs. Remember, the Quran its own is intact. In the verses of the Quran, you never find a name called Hafs. It's not in the Quran. You will never find the Warsh. It's not in the Quran. But they give it names based on their stories. Just like today, if you buy the Quran online, that is from my translation, some people will tag it as Baba Shoaib's version. They will tag it as Baba Shoaib's version of translation or Quran. They will automatically give it a name. So when I'm no more, when it happens that I'm no more on earth, people will now be saying that, oh, this is Baba Shoaib's version. And some people will now be saying, this is, you mentioned it, this guy's version. It doesn't mean I have the revelation from God. It happened to be a vessel passing through me. So when my name appears on the cover, doesn't mean I am the real owner of the Quran. So these people will put Hafs and then they put Warsh. Okay, they put variants. The variants is they normally use the argument of Malik Yawmiddin, chapter 1, Surah Al-Fatiha. So they will recite the Fatiha, and then when they get to Malik Yawmiddin, which is the Hafs version, then in Warsh version, there's Malik Yawmiddin. Malik Yawmiddin. Now, let me tell you the difference. Why Hafs is more sensible or more authentic compared when they bring this to the table. Malik Yawmiddin is the owner or possessor or the holder or the keeper of the day of judgment. So God owns God is the owner of the day of judgment. Yes, Malik Yawmiddin belongs to God. The Warsh version will say Malik Yawmiddin means the king of the day of judgment. Now, I found that as a discrepancy. I'll tell you why it's a discrepancy. When you go to Surah An-Nas, Surah An-Nas, chapter 114, God says, Kul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. Then he says, Malikin nas. God is the king of An-Nas. And when we say An-Nas, I think one time I did a lecture on it. Even the jinns are classified inside. It's a broad topic that I did. Now, Malikin nas, Ilahin nas, right? So Malikin nas is the king of mankind. God is always the king. God doesn't need one day to be the king. Do you get my point? God doesn't need one day to be the king. So when you limit the kingdom of God and you say Malik Yawmiddin, the king of the day of judgment, that is the Warsh version. No, that's a discrepancy there. But when you say Malik Yawmiddin, the owner of the day of judgment, the possessor of the day of judgment, is greater than a king. Yes, owner. God owns the day of judgment. He is not a king of the day of judgment. What do you mean king? He is the owner. When you say he's the king, you are limiting him. You are limiting God. So when is God not a king? When? He's the king of mankind from day one. Surah An-Nas. Maliki Yawmiddin. So when you say Maliki Yawmiddin, you are limiting him. King of the day of judgment? No. He is the king of mankind since day one. He is our king. He is the owner of the day of judgment because no other deity owns that. God owns. You understand? And there are a lot of examples from the Quran that I can give you why the Hafs version. But the reason why I'm using the word Hafs, if I'm dealing with the Quran, for instance, for people who have my copy of the Quran, I didn't write any nonsensical names there. They say Hafs version. These are the people who try to interpolate because they cannot put it into the verse of the God. They put it on the covers of the book, on the side pages of the book. Then they write, this is the Hafs version. That's what they do. Because in the Arabic text itself, you can never put falsehood in the verses of the God itself. So what they did, they created another version of the books. And this has been exposed in the Quran. I'm going to show you the secret. I'm taking you to Quran chapter 15. Let me show you something that most people don't know, right? In Quran chapter 15, and let's say I start from verse 89. Let's take 89, right? If you start from 89, God is going to expose why these people make replacement or other portions of the Quran. Again, they make versions. They have this Aduri and so on. They make different versions to confuse people like you with the Hadith narrative so that you can give credence to their books. Yeah. Okay. Wakul inni ana nazirun mubin. Now God asked the messenger to tell the people and say, indeed, I am a clear warner. Verse 90. Kama anzalna ala muktasimin. Just as we have revealed to the divisive people. Allazina ja'alul Qur'ana id-din. Then he says the ones who have made replacements of the Quran. They've made replacements of the Quran. We saw the evidences from the Quran that it was only one version given to the Prophet. It was only one recitation given to the Prophet and one book given to the Prophet. These people will say, no, there are 7 different qira'at. Really? Okay. Then it goes, 92. Then he says, فَوَرَبِّكَ لَنَسْأَلَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. Therefore, by your Lord, we will question them all. Verse 93, Amma kanu ya'amalun, about what they have been doing. Then verse 94, Fasda bima tu'maru wa'arid anil mushrikeen. Then he says what? So expose clearly what you are commanded and turn away from the what? Idolaters. That is the mushriks. Turn away from them. We all know the mushriks, the divisive people, right? They are the people who cause divisions. They divide themselves. And they have replacements of the Quran. Like they had these books and then the other versions they created to replace the Quran. It will not work. So far as God has people like Baba Shrib on earth, forget it. Forget it, though. If you don't get it, forget about it. Let's go. Now, let's listen to the Oxford Bozo.
What's your mechanism of rejection? If they don't have the ahruf as a mechanism, then they're admitting omission or insertion, which is outside of the hifz of Allah.
So first of all, your argument is flawed, Mohammed Hijab. The Quran doesn't support your argument of ahruf or 7 qira'ats or 7 versions of recitation. Quran doesn't support that argument. So where in the Quran does it say, first of all, answer that. Where does it say there are 7 versions or different versions of qira'at? Where? Where in the Quran? Where did you get this understanding from, or this point of view from your hadith books, right? So do you see how we say you are superimposing your ideologies, your point of views over the Quran? Okay.
Protection of Allah. And the Quran itself says, "Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidhun." We have.
They just quote verses out of context anyhow, anywhere. He's quoting chapter 15, verse 9. Chapter 15, verse 9. They use this. Look how he's going to use it.
Sent down the book and we will preserve it. So
did the verse says we send down the book? Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. Did he say inna nahnu nazzalna al-kitab? Now he says the book. Where does he say the book in that verse?
So it's ironic when you disbelieve in the Quran, when you disbelieve in the Hadith, you end up disbelieving the Quran.
Do you see what they do? When you end up disbelieving the Hadith, you end up disbelieving the Quran. Did I disbelieve in the Quran? This is Baba Shrib sitting here. I said I believe in the Quran and uphold the Quran, but you are still claiming I disbelieve in the. How? Let it make sense, please. What is wrong with these people? How? Look.
Because they work in symbiotic relationship with one another.
Look again. They work in you in the beginning, you just said the Quran is the most important, the most veracious, the most transmitted, the most this. Now you go and get symbiotic relationship again. What is wrong with these guys?
They work in symbiotic relationship. And the way the Quran has been revealed and protected is the same way the Hadith has been protected by.
Oh my God. Now he says the way the Quran has been revealed and protected is the same way the Hadith has been. You are comparing man-made written work with the book of God. Look what God says in Quran chapter. Look at this verse. I'm going to show you a verse. Quran chapter 17, verse 88. Listen what God says. Look at the challenge God is putting to us. God says, "Kul la ini jitama'at al-insu wal jinn ala an yati bimithli hadha al-Quran la yatuna bimithlihi walau kana ba'duhum li ba'din zahira." He says, "Say you the messenger, indeed, if humans and the jinns would confer in order to bring the like of this Quran, they could not bring the like of it, even if they were assistants to each other." This foolish Oxford bozo is sitting down again. Look at the foolish statement he's making again. And not only him, the people like him. That's what they keep saying. Because they hate God. They hate the book of God. You people don't see it, right? And when Baba Shrib is going all out against these foolish mushriks, you think I'm being mean, I'm being harsh. You are sitting down, foolish people like this, insulting the words of God, and you think, hey, yeah, Mohammed Hijab is popular.
So on a historical level, let's put away all these discussions. There are some hadiths with even more voracious, dare I even say.
Do you see what he's saying? Is he not the same person who said the Quran is the most veracious book? Now he's now saying the hadith is more veracious. Over what? Listen, over what?
Sanid than the Quran itself.
Do you see the hypocrisy? Now he's saying the hadith is more veracious than the Quran itself. Allah. Oh my God. Hey. Now, this is the things you people are missing. You don't pay attention to these bozos, these miscreants when they are speaking. This same guy says the Quran is the most veracious. Now again, 8 minutes later, the hadith is more veracious than the Quran. Listen to that part again.
So it's ironic, when you disbelieve in the Quran, when you disbelieve in the Hadith, you end up disbelieving the Quran because they work in symbiotic relationship with one another. They work.
So which of the hadiths? The ones you guys reject? Because some of your hadiths you reject them. The da'if, you have da'if, you have weak hadiths you reject. So can you be specific? When you reject which hadith, you reject the Quran. Which hadith is that? So which hadith is explaining the Quran? I don't get it. Which hadith do you claim is explaining the Quran? Is it the one the Prophet married a 6-year-old girl? Which verse does it explain? Is it the one he sleeps with 11 women in one night? Which verse does it explain? Is it the one he tried to sleep with his concubine on the bed of one of his wives? Which one does it explain? Is it the one he tried to sleep with a woman and she shamed him? She call him Rajulun Safala or something. Which verse does it? So if I reject that, I reject the Quran. Is that how your brains work? This Oxford bozo?
In symbiotic relationship with. And the way the Quran has been revealed and protected is the same way the Hadith has been protected by Sanad. So on a historical level, let's put away all these discussions. There are some Hadiths with even more veracious, dare I even say, asanid than the Quran itself.
You heard that? No, did you hear that? Did you hear what he said?
For example, ironically, the Hadith that says, "Man kadhaba alayya muta'ammidan falyatabawwa maq'adahu min an-nar." It's been narrated by 40 individuals, Sahaba. Whoever lies about me intentionally, the Prophet said, whoever lies about me intentionally, let him prepare his seat in the hellfire. Being narrated by 40 individuals, 40. Some even say 120, depending on who's narrating it, but at least 40. This hadith is rock solid. It's a piece of his.
You see why I call them hadithiyuns? Yeah, this is the reason why I call them hadithiyuns. The Bukhariyuns, they are mushriks, wallahi lazim. They give preference of the hadith over the Quran. Wallahi. They do. And these guys, they hate the Quran so much. Yeah, salam, brother Sami Rashi. They hate the Quran. Wallahi, they hate it. Indirectly. Wallahi.
Historical, it's a marvel of historical preservation. It's a magnificent.
You see how he's praising the hadith books now?
Piece. Look, we know the Prophet said that. He surely said that. That's.
You see, because 40 people narrated it, so he surely said it.
That's it. So on what basis do we say he didn't? You'd have to make some kind of a foolish argument. Now, what I want you to do with the person next to you is, considering all that I've said, I want you to think about how a person who is a Quran alone will make their strongest argument and how they will play devil's advocate. We've put
Mohammed Hijab, you want to know how I'll make my argument and play the devil's advocate. Put me to the test, you know. Don't worry. Baba Shuaib is not like the people you go to the Hyde Park and get. I'm serious. God gave me the privilege to translate the Quran for a reason. And God gave me the privilege to speak to the world for a reason. I dare you guys on one-on-one. I don't like this kind of stupid programs you guys arrange. 5 people on the panel, 10 people on the panel. You put one person and you keep bombarded with questions. I dare all of you. All of you know me. No, you know me. You don't just mention me. Farid knows me. Jake Brancatella knows me. You mention them, all of them. The Ijaz, you mention them. They all know me. They just don't want to mention Baba Shuaib because the masses will wake up. I'm serious. Because when people start resonating with the things I say, these people are going to look like clowns. Yeah, well, not look like. They are already clowns. Yeah. Let's go.
Out there, really the simple arguments, but the very cutthroat and undercutting arguments, I would say, about the Quran and the Hadith. So the task is, now put yourself in their shoes. What would you say back to this? Even though the chain is actually sound, the people are, adul, that they're fine, memory is okay, but there's some other issues. It's called the ilal, hidden defects of the hadith, and there's some matan or in the text of the hadith contradictions with the Quran, and that's ilal in and of itself. So for that reason, actually, it's not, we don't have a problem in saying we do believe the Quran is supreme. The other issue of abrogation,
again, he goes, now he says, we do believe the Quran is supreme. Like they talk in circles, right? In circles. And that's why I do videos on these guys, right? You don't cross-examine them. They talk in circles like this. I'm serious. Yes, exactly. The one with the name N. They will want to debate with people like you, yes, but not Baba Shuaib. If you mention Baba, wallahi laz, I'm not joking. If you mention Baba Shuaib, they tremble. They say, no, I don't want to face that guy. But they want to face people, ordinary people, outside the Hyde Park every time. Yes, they want people like you. I don't know why they are scared of me, right? Like people telling me I look handsome. I'm not scary. I'm not like a villain. I don't look like a villain. But they're scared. I don't know. Please tell them, Baba Shuaib, my contact is there. My phone number is even there. Throw it to these guys. Tell them I want you to do a dialogue with this guy. You let them invite me to their. I'll come, no problem. But one-on-one. I don't want 10 against 1, please. Not even David can fight 10 against 1, please. So I need one-on-one match. You put me the best they have. You the Farids, the Mushrik Lantin, the Jake Brakatella, Mushrik metaphysician. You mentioned them, the Ijaz, you mentioned them, all of them. Tell them one-on-one. Wallahi, one-on-one. Let's see.
I'm not sure if I would say the majority, but it seems at least the majority, it could be, say that there's no abrogation of the Sunnah of the Quran. That position is a fine position. The position of, and we're not going to go into a deep discussion of this, but the position of the Sunnah does not abrogate the Quran. Although there are some people who argue that it does. Okay, there are some.
You see how confused they are? This is how they talk, like they are drunk. Do you see how it's like they are drunk? Oh, yeah, there's no abrogation of the Sunnah of the Quran. Also, some people say, yeah, although they are also right when they say that, although you can say this one is abrogation here, but no, that next time, no, like this. And this is how they confuse you guys. And so sectarians are confused, to be honest. They are confused. Now listen to the last statement he made.
But yes. The majority, I would say that the Sunnah cannot or does not abrogate the Quran. Or the Quran abrogates itself, and it can abrogate the Sunnah, but the Sunnah cannot abrogate the Quran.
So now, at the end of his statement, he gave the Quran the upper hand. He says the Quran can abrogate the Sunnah, but the Sunnah cannot abrogate the Quran. Do you see what he did? So now he gave the Quran back the title, like take the cup, you win the argument. Again, this is how confused these people are. Wallahi, they are confused. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mohammed Hijab for you. Right? Hey, Liman Imran and Agan Kasalam, bro. So let's do this. Let me put my phone number there. My phone number is here below the page, right? This is Mohammed Hijab, the Oxford Bozo. I'm done with him. Yeah, let the callers who want to call to ask the question before I go. I'm going to TikTok, right? I'm going to TikTok. At least today I'll be there for like 1 hour. So if you want to call, please call. Thank you very much. Somebody sent me a message. I just saw your message. Thank you. I think from Australia. I didn't get your name, but I saw your message. Is it Hakan? Yeah, Hakan. I saw your message. Yeah, but that's my number on the page, right? +358 466 803144. You can call via WhatsApp. I'll pick up, and then you can ask one question before I go. I think 2 hours, almost 2 hours 20 minutes. That's okay. I'll trim the greetings part so that the video can be a bit shorter, so people can watch it. But this is the Oxford Bozo, right? I just dealt with the Oxford Bozo. and the whims, how they put their whims and desires to the people, and they think they have the best argument ever, and they will always find the gazelles instead of going for the lion. They go for the gazelle, and right, I don't know why they do that, but Baba Shrib is available. My phone number is there, my email is there, my pages are there. These people know. But the point is, because they don't want Baba Shrib to be in the limelight, because I'm a threat to them. When people wake up from the things I teach people, these people are going to stop getting the YouTube money. Right? Yeah. And also their paymasters will stop paying them. So this is why they try to avoid me the best they can. I'm serious. Ashraf, why don't you call me? This guy with the name Ashraf, please call me. Call me. You say teach people how to pray better than talking about Mohammed Hijab. You should call me.
Hello.
Yes, brother. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Ali. I'm calling from London.
Ali, you from London?
Yeah, yeah.
How may I help you?
Brother, this year, I just want to, before I start, I just want to thank you for everything, man. Like, I've been struggling with Islam, but you just helped me find the right answer. You just helped me answer all my answers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right now, what I want to ask you is, how could I live a good life without any bad influence, or like any like Shia or Jadaniya or Sunni try to come up to me and ask and try to see what I'm living, how I'm living my life now is wrong, because I want to try to follow the Quran alone.
Yeah, number one, thank you for your question. Number one, don't go argue about things you don't know. That is number one.
Yeah.
Number two, don't follow things you don't know. Number two, you see, when you don't argue about things you don't know and you don't follow things you don't know, that is the number one way to have peace in your life. That is number one criteria, right? These two things. Don't argue about things you don't know and don't go following things you don't know.
100%.
Yes, because many a times the people you are going to be dealing with, let me tell you, they are opinionated people. It's not as if they are walking with facts. They don't have facts. What they have is based on assumptions, and they will be bombarding you with their opinions and assumptions day in, day out. So you, to be on the safe end, when a person is approaching you with issues you are not learned about, push that as issue aside. If they are speaking, let them prove what they are saying. Then take the proof and investigate.
Okay, sir.
The moment you start speaking about things you don't know, that is when they put you under pressure.
Okay, sir.
Yes. So that is the two advice I can give. And these are all coming from the Quran, right? Quran chapter 3, verse 66 up to verse 65 to verse 66. Don't go argue about things you don't know. The Jews and the Christians did the same thing. You don't need to argue about things you don't know. Quran chapter 17, verse 36. Do not follow what you don't know. Don't pursue what you don't know.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so that is my advice to you.
Thank you very much, sir. That's what I just needed to hear.
Thank you. Thank you. Blessing to you. Thank you. This person calling me with the number 33. Let me call you back. Let me call you back. Yes.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Correctional Officer Baba. This is Azad.
Wa alaikum assalam, bro. Azad?
This is Azad. Azad from Georgia.
Azad from Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh, nice to meet you, bro. Your numbers is +33. Is it Georgia? Georgia is +33.
No. Yeah. This is France. France.
This is.
I have this number from France, but I'm living in Georgia.
Okay.
So I stay in Georgia. When I went to France was when I got it. Anyway, the first thing I want to say is I want to commend you for all the good work you've been doing.
Thank you.
I said this. Those who are criticizing you, aside the fact that it is normal, is because they have not seen your light. They have not seen the lights of you. That's why. I told you I have 3 people in my own country that they do the same thing that you do, but you are just 3 in 1. You have everything together. So I have one where I could say those 3 guys that I know, they do it differently. One handles Bible so staunchly. He knows everything about it. He's a surgeon and doctor of Bible, but he's a Muslim.
Okay.
And the other man, and the other guy he's a Quraniyun, like us, like this. A little bit of Hadith.
Okay.
He's very good, very, very good. He's madly good. Then another one too, like that. So those people who are saying what they are saying, I know I don't have to tell you what you have to do. I know you know the likes of them. You just leave them alone, please. And then again, I want to tell you, please. I want you to please try and reduce. I don't know, maybe you are going to accept this. Try and reduce the way you abuse those people. Just leave them. They cannot change, you know. Then lastly is that why is the comment section locked? I can't even say my Teslim, my Assalamu alaikum, like that I used to transliterate in English and in Arabic. It has been locked. I'm not able to. I'm unable to comment. I don't know
why.
What happened?
Why you are unable to comment where?
Yeah. Okay, I've seen it. That was stuff. I've seen it. It was out of impatience. I'm sorry. I've seen it.
Okay.
Okay.
Now when you type, I can the comment will appear. I can see it. Right.
Exactly. Exactly. I just saw it now. I forgot. Normally, I always watch most of your stuff on my system, but now I'm watching on my phone because I was somewhere. So I was thinking I was still my assistant.
Okay.
I can find out.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your points. I read about. Anyways, before you since you are stepping down, I'm going to tackle one of the things you say so that you get to know the gist of why I do what I do. So thank you for it. I appreciate the support. Yeah, you can go offline. Don't worry. You can go.
One more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing, please. Correctional. I want to ask 1 or 2 questions, but those questions I don't know why I wrote them. Am I allowed to call back before you go? Before you leave now, or maybe I should make it next time on the next session for question and answer.
My next session will be a question and answer program. So also if you can join on TikTok. Do you have TikTok?
No,
you don't have TikTok because
how many are we going to use?
I
have almost 7 applications.
No problem. No problem. No problem. It's okay. Since you cannot go on TikTok, my next program next week, God willing, will be on question and answer. This thing. So you write it down. Write it down, and I'll tackle that.
The reason I don't know why I kept them. I'm not organized these days.
Please find it. Find it next time. You ask me next week, God willing. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you.
So can we say this one that we used to say that Jazakallah khairan?
Oh, there's no problem. It's just Arabic language. Look, we don't hate Arabs. No. It's a language, just like we are using English language. We don't hate English people. So yeah.
See, do you know ever since when I knew you?
Yeah.
When I used to fast, I used to ask Allah to share portion of my fasting this thing to you. God should give you some. It is true. It is true. It is true because your type, your caliber is not the same. You can see. I didn't mean I'm on this line. I'll be madder than you. I'll be I love doing something that is crazy that okay, look at many things. They said Anabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they said the reason we had Suratul Ataina was because he lost his son on the Eid day. It's a lie.
It's a lie. Yes.
They told us,
it's a lie. It's a lie.
He slept with one of his aunties in the grave. They just and you see this man that I used to say, I don't know how this man got all this. He said these things has been said by those who are enemies of Islam, and our afars, our ulamas, they put it on their head that these are these. Do you know this man let us know that there are some hadiths that are lifted from the copies from the Bible. Let me leave you. Let me give others the call.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. God bless you. Peace. Okay, so the brother from he used the number from France, calling. And of course, sometimes it's out of excitement. He's just giving his point. Sometimes if you have the chance to speak, you speak up, right? So that's why I have to allow him to speak. The point is, he spoke about if I can limit my harshness. Sometimes people think I'm insulting, right? There's a reason why I use that. It comes from a position of them insulting God, right? So the things they do, they insult God. Actually, I'll call you back. I'll call you back. They actually insult God, right? The things that you see the Mohammed Hijabs and so on doing, it's an insult to God. They are insulting God and insulting the prophet. It's an insult if you don't know what an insult is. So in order for me to actually bring out, to show people this foolishness of these people, I need to go all out. Now, when I go all out, people will be asking, why is this guy mean? Why is he this? Why is he that? Now, you understand, when you reflect why Baba Shuaib is like that, you get the answer up behind it. Let me tell you why. Let's say you used to respect a prominent man or a prominent scholar in your community. You used to respect him very well. Then you had a little sister, and this little sister is being raped by somebody, but you never knew who was raping this girl. So then one day you found out that this prominent scholar who was behind your house was the one raping your little sister. Now tell me, will you ever have respect for this scholar or this prominent person? Do you have respect for him again? Will you ever be able to talk to that person with respect? The answer is no. The respect is gone. The everything is gone. What is left is all out. You will never have any respect for such a person. Now, this is the position I am in, and when I see the scholars, let me quote a verse for you. Quran chapter 2, verse 159. God says, Inna allazina yaqtumuna ma anzalna min al-bayyinat wal huda min ba'di ma bayyannahu lin-nas fil kitab ulaika yal'anumullah wa yal'anumullah inun. Indeed, those who conceal what God has revealed of the guidance and the proofs after that which God has made it clear for the people in the book, those are the ones whom God has cursed, and those are the ones cursed by the curses. Do you understand? So now, imagine you realizing somebody has been hiding the truth, the words of God from you. Now, when you discover it, God says they are the ones who you are going to curse. God curses them. And you also can curse them because God allows that. So what Baba Shuaib is doing is a compilation of curse and harshness towards these miscreants who are doing things deliberately. Because according to Quran chapter 3 verse 78, wa inna minhum la fariqan yaluna alisinatahum bil kitab litasabuhu min al kitab. Then they will say it is coming from the book. وَيَقُولُونَ هُوَ مِنْ إِنْدِ اللَّهِ. It's coming from God. وَمَا هُوَ مِنْ إِنْدِ اللَّهِ وَيَقُولُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. So they will say a lie about God while they know. So me, Baba Shuaib, from the position knowing what these people do, I can never be gentle. No, I don't know. I don't care how you think. People have opinions. People can tell me, oh, you have to be. Look, even my own father once called my attention, say, Baba, please, if you can do it. I said, I wish I can do it. My heart is already like on that level. I'm fed up with these mushriks. I wish I can do it. I wish. But you imagine somebody did something bad, evil to your family, and somebody's telling you, oh, have patience. What? You have the right to tell me your opinion. I can listen. But can you prove me wrong with the verses of God, what I do? No, you can't. I'm using the verses of God to attack these mushriks. Yes, I can never be gentle the way you think because you don't understand the emotional part I'm coming from. I see the deep shits these people are doing to you. I am in that position to show you how mean this thing can be. I don't need to joke. Of course, that sometimes I do put, some jovial aspects is just to make you comfortable. But if you know what I know, you will never tolerate this nonsense going on. I'm serious. So this is why you see me going all out. I can never be gentle with them. Never. You don't know what I've seen, right? Do you know how deep shit the trash this mushriks talk upon us? Do you know how they go all out on us? Do you know how they insult us? You don't know, right? Oh, because you are from a gentle place, so you think, oh yeah. Do you understand? So I'm in from a position where I've seen the deepest shit they can do to you, and that is why you see me going all out like that. I wish I can do it gentle like the way you wish. I wish. But if I don't put this severity inside, you will never know how critical this is. That is why I'm putting the harshness, so that you will know how critical it is. It's not a joke. They are playing with your conscience and your lives, and you guys think it's a joke. And when I'm seriously going all out, you think, oh, our tribe is too harsh. You wait till somebody rape your little sister. Then you will see if you can be gentle towards that person or not. I'm waiting. I'm not saying somebody raped my little sister, but I'm just giving you the gist of the same, in contrast, the example of the position of what I've seen the deep shit the scholars are doing to you. I can't tolerate the nonsense. I'm not here to romance their ego or to say, oh, mashallah, Zakir Naik, I respect the Zakir Naik, mashallah. Everything Baba Shrib does is based on the verses. I do it justified. If you can want to prove me wrong, come. Let's call on my program, prove me wrong, and say, oh, Baba Shrib, you are doing this wrong. You insulted this scholar. God said you shouldn't insult. Come and show me a verse. I'm waiting. Yeah, sorry, this scholar. Let me call you back. Mike, let me call you back.
Hello, Baba Shrib.
Hello, my brother. You're welcome. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yes, thank you. Yes. My name is Mike. I'm calling from Malawi, Southern Africa.
Oh, Mike from Malawi.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Mike. How may I help you, brother?
Everything is fine. How about that side?
Thank God. No complaints. No complaint.
Yeah, all right. So I had like 2 questions I wanted to ask you. I don't know if that's possible.
It is okay.
All right. So the first question is on Qira'at that I always get most of the time when I'm talking about this with my friend, with my friends mostly. So they like, okay, so how because I did madrasa when I was a kid, and when we were memorizing the Quran, there were different forms of recitation that we did, most especially Surat Fatiha. We could recite these different variations. And I wanted to understand really, because when I watched your video once, you said that only one of them is correct, the rest are just, yeah, I don't believe that there are like 10, all of those things Sunnis give us. So I wanted to get like, okay, so what is this all about? Like, yeah, like an answer on that one.
Brother Mike, wait, before you ask the second question, I will advise you after this program, kindly watch this program. After the 1 hour, 30 minutes going, I've answered this question. I did a full speech on it for 30 minutes. So please, after this program, then you rewatch the playback. You see the answer there, please. Let's go to the next question.
All right. Okay. So the next question is based on the Qibla.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I understand that when I was reading the ayat concerning the Qibla, I didn't see anything about a Salat there, or maybe I clearly misunderstood. But I just wanted to understand what the Qibla really is, and also this issue about Masjid al-Aqsa and Masjid al-Haram. Because I also see the same thing happening in Surah Al-Isra. I wanted to ask particularly on the Qibla, but also what these 2 specific names of are referring to, or to these places, because I see it also in Al-Isra when God is saying that He agrees qualified by taking this messenger from one place of worship to a distant place of worship. So I wanted to understand what those are.
Okay, so in simplicity, you want to know about the Qibla. Is that the point?
Yes, and the relationship with these masjids that are mentioned.
The masjid mentioned in Quran chapter 17, verse 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those ones.
Okay, I can tackle on that. But you want to stay on line, or you want to step down for me to answer, or how do you want it?
I know I'll just watch it from there.
Okay.
Of course, I would love also to maybe ask like a follow-up question, of course.
Yeah, but that's I don't. The time is limited for that because I'll be going on TikTok. If you come in on TikTok, you can ask. But if you ask the question, I just want to give it because we will do question and answer session next week. I don't want to stall the program right now because the more questions come in, it will deviate the attention of the main topic I did, and it will shift that to something else. That's why I don't want to keep tolerating more questions. So the question you ask, let's deal with the Qibla one. The other one, I have a video on it. I'll give the link. If you, since you have my number, send me a reminder. I'll send you the link to that answer concerning the masjid. The masjid, that's 17 verse 1. But let's talk about the Qibla. So you can step down where I give the answer. Then next week we give question and answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you. Yeah. Okay. So based on the verse, the question the brother was asking concerning the Qibla, when I did a video, I spoke about the Qibla. Yes, the verse doesn't talk about prayer. The verse never talks. Quran chapter 2, verse 144, it never talks about facing in prayer. It never mentioned the word salat. Quran chapter 10, verse 82, God says, وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَلَوْ كَرَهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. Right? So God will enforce the truth with his words, even if the criminals dislike it. So what the criminals do is they will force there to be there when there is no there. So they will make something mean what it is not there already. Right? Understand? So they are imposing their own opinions or tafasirs on the Quran. You take the Quran. If the Quran doesn't say pray facing Kaaba, these people will put pray facing Kaaba, even though it doesn't say that. Now we are following the Millata Ibrahima. Millata Ibrahima, I dare anybody, show me where Abraham ever prayed facing Kaaba. It doesn't exist. He never, okay. The point is, look, to make it simple for you, it is Millata Ibrahima we are following. I dare any mushrik, show me one verse in the Quran where God asked Abraham to pray facing the Kaaba. It doesn't exist. The one you are following his creed, he never did it. He never did that. Now you are claiming God says we should face Kaaba and pray. To face Kaaba and pray. Is that what God, are you praying to the Kaaba? No, who are you praying to? Is it God? So if it's God, why face Kaaba? So are you saying if I don't face Kaaba, God is not going to answer my prayer? You see the foolishness. So I'm just telling you how you people have been indoctrinated by Hadith books. The Hadiths have influenced your thoughts. So I'm saying you need to unlearn and relearn Islam. You've been lied to for so many years. You'll be doing things which you have been indoctrinated. You never investigated. Do you get my point? So why are you praying facing a Kaaba? What is your intention? Somebody will say, oh, but when you are praying at home, you face a wall. Because God never said I should face a wall. I can face anywhere to pray. You are making it a fixed position where I have to pray facing. Qibla simply means destination. It's a direction where God has given you, where you establish your salat. So the masjid God gave the prophet is a place where you establish your salat. It is not a place where you stand far away and be facing it. For what? No, what is the idea of facing it? Okay, what if you are in the masjid? Where do you face? So now that you have entered the masjid, where do you face? Then the foolish people will tell you, go and face Kaaba. Is that, no, show me. Is it Kaaba God asked you to face? Seriously, where? You understand? So logic is out of the equation. These people are just using the Hadith books to fool you. Baba Shuaib is only waking you up. Wake up, wake up. You're sleeping. These people are fool. They are making you idol worshippers. Worshipping a stone, worshipping a building, worshipping a black stone. That is the point. And so I did a video dismantling Prince Mushrik. It's on YouTube. Go and see how I dismantled him. Now he's even scared to talk about me again. I will mess him up. I need scholars. You are sending amateur, teenage, amateur, underage people to me. Send me your scholars. So let me pick up this last caller, then I go, because this person called. Let me try to call him back. Okay, somebody asked a question. This guy Perfect not. He says, Baba, do you agree with Hamza Abdul Malik and Sam Gerans? Or do you have any opinion on them regarding? Like, I don't like the idea of putting people, especially people who advocate the Quran movement, and then put them and then talk about them. And the reason why somebody like Brother Hamza Malik is an elder, I respect him a lot. We used to have conversations. It's not because something happened. No, it's because of my terrain and the styles of the things I do. I'm more focused on drawing a lot of content and so on. So of course I do respect some of his views, right? Like I said, even in the same house, a father and a son might not agree on everything, but that doesn't mean they are enemies. You get the point. So it's just another version of knowledge that you just need to understand. Sometimes you can come about it, or sometimes you need time to understand perspectives, right? So there are different perspectives to knowledge. We see Prophet Musa, chapter 18, verse 63. When you read up to verse 82, you find out that Musa and his teacher had a difference of understanding, even though Musa was right. Whatever Moses said was right, but his teacher has a broader view to whatever he understood. So there are different perspectives to a particular subject, but the core of our message remains the same. So the agenda is to call people to the book of God. But however, you don't just believe in what people say, what Baba Shrib says, what Hamza Malik just say. You have to investigate for yourself. Then you check the one which can resonate with your logic, which makes sense, which is okay for you to follow. That's it. At the end of the day, when you wake up in front of God, it is not Baba Shrib going to be your representative. Neither is Hamza Malik going to be your representative. You are on your own. That's what we keep telling you. Don't pursue what you don't have knowledge about. You understand? So respect to all of them. They are doing their best, and we are all calling to the movement. So differences, yes, there can be differences, but the core of the message is we are sticking to the book of God. That's most important. So I don't have any personal issues with them at all. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 hours 45 minutes is too long on Facebook. I think I have to leave this page like this. I'll be going to TikTok. I want to save some energy for TikTok, because if I go, if I get tired, I cannot stay again. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for your time and presence. Lawrence Cron says it's called common sense and critical thinking. The truth is self-evident. Baba is like Bruce Lee. I appreciate that. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the support. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I have to bring the topic to an end. I'm going to TikTok. Kindly join me and let's have fun. I know the Mushriks are there waiting for me. So come. Vamijo. Let's go. Oh, this person doesn't want me to go. Please, let me pick this last caller, please. Yes, your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, I'm Habib. I'm calling in London, UK.
Siddiq from London. How may I help you?
No, it's not Siddiq. It's Habib.
Habib. Sorry, Habib. How may I help you?
Yeah, I just want to add one or two things to your topic of today.
Do you want to ask me a question, or you want to add?
No, I just want to add.
Oh no, we don't have time for that. I'm sorry. Come to TikTok, please.
I just want to go to bed because
I can't. I don't have much time. I'm sorry. I'm already telling my audience. But if you have a question, fine, ask me a question. If not, join me on TikTok. I don't want my YouTube video to be very long. It is boring for people to watch. So please, if you have TikTok, join me on TikTok. If not, next week I'll be here. When is next Wednesday? No. Then you can talk. Yeah.
No, it's okay. No worry.
So thank you for your patience. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
So it's quite unfortunate. I couldn't allow the brother. I need to go on TikTok, please. So whoever is joining me, join me on TikTok. I need to let people watch this playback, right? Thank you very much, Sister Hannah. She says you can all hit the like button on the way out. Kindly like the video so that the algorithms can send it to the other people to watch, right? However, I'll be editing the first front part so that we can. Who is this? Yusuf Bello, join me on TikTok so that I can make you famous. If you're man enough, join me on TikTok. I'm going there. When we opened the phone lines, you weren't here. So kindly join me on TikTok. I'm going to TikTok right now. Right? Join me on TikTok. I'm done the program. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I bring the topic to an end. For those who are on Facebook, YouTube, if you want to join me, if you cannot join me on TikTok, join me next week, Wednesday. I'll be there. Come on time and join me. Thank you very much, Mom Khadija. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. Till we meet again, peace be upon you all. Peace out. Join me on TikTok.